out in the water, come jump right in, 'cause we going farther than we ever been. I'm out in the water, come jump right in, we going farther than we ever been.
Boom.
Back at it again, man.
Sir. Ocean Waves, episode 39.
Yeah.
Indigo Ryan the Navigator. Thanks for tuning in to us.
Shouts on the Guru. Fixing the levels.
I'm checking on comments right now.
There was a couple I saw.
Were they?
Think so.
Let's see. One comment. Got fire with the fire emoji peace sign. Only 5 views on the last one. So having the drop, missing a week, went from, let's see, we'll start with the last one. That was us. The first time it was us two, in the recent. So 29 2 months ago got 63 views so far. 30 had 36, 31 had 48, 32 had 34, 33 had 63, 34 had 49, 35 had 50, 36 had 37, 37 had 24, and then 38 had 5. So
huge drop off for missing a week.
yeah. So definitely sticking to the schedule is definitely the move.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do a double up to get back on pace. But I don't know.
Is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not pressed.
I'll slide this way so we're not crossing.
It is what it is.
Get around the things.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
It's late at night for anyone watching.
Yep.
Late night vibes.
So you went to the pool today.
Yeah.
I did a whole lot of nothing.
A lot of walks.
Did some walking.
Yeah.
Made some food.
Pretty slow day. My mentality, I think, at part on the walk was just embracing the accomplishment of just the things that, like, just the father accomplishment, where you're not really doing anything like crazy in your life, like you're not doing any life changing thing. I didn't make a song. I always feel better when I make a song, like in my day when I come up with something that's I think is dope. I always feel better about it, like better about my day. But you're not gonna get that every day.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that you kind of have to.
But I feel like you have to have accomplished.
Sorry.
You have to have already have accomplished things in order to have that feeling, though.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean?
Oh, to be able to just like.
Like, because you can sit back and look at everything you've accomplished. Been like, you haven't been doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I guess
if you just sit around and do nothing all the time, like.
You have nothing to look back on.
It's not.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I also just. It only brings me happiness in the moment, I think. You know, like when I write something new, or like I got a couple things right now, and like that day that I like do the song, I'll play this shit on repeat. Like, then the next couple days I'll be bumping it, and then it goes in the playlist, and then it's like, you know, just working it out, and then as I listen to it, usually when I'm driving or whatever, I get that like that feeling.
True.
That it's like, oh, it's exciting. But then after that, it's like I don't really look back on like all the old music and be like, oh, look at all I've accomplished.
Yeah.
It's only in moments of like, I won't say.
I'm just saying, in anyone's like in your personal journey, like if you hadn't done those things, and you wouldn't be able to sit and be like,
consent.
These little things, exactly.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and I think that's just for me, like getting to that, like after getting the podcast out to it's where it is now. and then doing the 2 albums, solo albums. At this point, like now I've done like, there's nothing that I've thought about that I'm supposed to do that I haven't done. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. So now I'm on the other fence of, I've been on this other side of the fence for so long of being like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. I gotta do this, and now that I've done it, it's like, what's next? So, I mean, I have the video idea, do that, and I have the movie idea, I want to do that. And we have our idea for the music.
Yeah.
So, there's things to do. But right now, I don't know. I don't know. Just waiting to find, like, the energy to make new shit.
Yeah, I feel that.
I don't know. I feel like the past, like, week has taken a big toll.
A lot of shit.
Just so much stuff happening and emotions all at once, and the birthday now, and like the album too, like, you know, like you, I know, I mean, me and you worked on it 100%, you know, so, but then, and Bree listened to it when she was inside on my birthday.
Yeah.
And Bree, and I called Bree because I said this too, I was like, thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, especially after everything that's been going down, like obviously like Calvin and Eddie aren't here right now. We didn't really bring it up last time.
No.
So it's like, but for whatever reason or whatever, we're at this point where everyone has to just figure out what they want to do and be like honest with themselves. And wherever everyone is taking that or doing whatever, everyone's free to be on the podcast. Everyone's free not to be. It's all up to, it really comes down to, do you want to do it, you know? So as far as that, but for me, it's like, I know that this is one of my, like, this is something that I've set out on this journey and I have to do. Like, I can't just not, whatever. But into that, I wanted to, because Bree was talking about how she wanted to, like, especially now that she got a new camera and stuff like that, she wanted to do more in the video thing, and throughout this whole time, like, especially making the album, like, I had spoken to Bree about different things. So Bree and I definitely had a lot of conversations. She's definitely seen the progression. So I asked her, I called her, and I said, okay, I know we talked about the video, and I said, okay, do you want to be, like, how involved do you want to be? Do you want to be everywhere from the story and everything? You want to be able to bring your opinion and do whatever, touch whatever? Do you just want to, like, give your opinion on the angles and this, and that? Or do you just want to strictly hold the camera? And you just hold the camera. And she said she wants to be as much a part of it as possible or whatever. So I was like, okay, so what I'm going to do is I need to do the story. And I'll do my layer and I'll give it to her. And I'll say, go listen to the album, look at these notes, and highlight, make note, whatever you think. Just bring your ideas to the table, and then we can keep progressing, blah, blah, blah. So I know, so for Bree, I offered, and she said that, so that's one of the things that I want to do moving forward or whatever. And I know that Bree's going to be a big part of it and whatever. So everyone's got their own things, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like I'm at this point almost like, it's like this fine balance of like, what's the point?
I talked about it after I remember when I dropped The Guru, and I said every time I drop an album, I get depressed.
And it's not even about the music. It's just about, like, I think just everything that happens. It's just like, I just see things like way differently within 1 week, you know? And it's like dealing with how I view it, and then, you know, not bringing, like, not portraying anything negative on anyone else. You know what I mean? Just based off what you see. Because I don't want to reflect. I don't want my reflection to be negative. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. So it's like, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to hide away from the feelings I have or whatever. But back to the album thing I was talking about was like, you know, so I know Bree listened to it, and Bree's involved in this way. I know you listened to it. I know Nathan. Shout out Nathan. Nathan listened to it.
Oh, Nathan dropped an album too.
Yeah, he did. And I told him, and throughout all this, I did tell him. I said, because I haven't listened to the music, and I told him because I was making my own or whatever. And I was like, I will listen to every single song you put out, and I'm gonna watch that movie. And I told him I'll give him a whole feedback early.
And also, this is for Sarah, if Sarah is watching or watches. She made this comic And
Yeah.
In my phone, I have like all my tabs of Safari, and after like usually every like 2 weeks, I'll go and I'll just delete everything because I'm not doing it anymore. But that's the one I haven't read it yet, but I have. That's the only like that tab and one other tab are the only tabs I ever like that have been staying there because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Whenever
I did tell them because I was like,
where is the movie? Is it still in the?
It's in the van. So. And I told him I was like, because I just know that I'm not ready to sit down and read the comic at the moment.
Yeah.
But I did say I was gonna do it. I told him I would do it, but I also was honest in that I'm not gonna do it this second, but I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? But Nathan,
I probably
Nathan
will try
said,
to do it before the wedding.
Yeah. Nathan said, Nathan said, Peace of Mind was his favorite. That's how I knew. And then I know that Rob, shout out Rob. Rob Bass on Instagram. He listened to it or he at least looked at it because his comment on my Instagram post was talking shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so you had to at least open the track list to get to that, because now he wouldn't have just said that. You know, maybe he would, but it's like, so I was like, but I don't know what, but Nathan said that he liked it. Everyone who said something to me about it said that they liked it, right? So you said that obviously you had your opinions on it. Bree congratulated me. She was proud of it, you know, and obviously that message she put on Instagram, like that was.
I thought that was dope. Yeah,
it was a nice message, and I know that I know Nathan listened to it, but I don't think anyone else has. You know, and if they haven't told me what they think, and it's like there's this couple kids at work. There's one kid, Ethan. Shout out Ethan. He for like a month, he like would ask me about the album. He'd be like, "Yo, so how's the album coming?"
Oh, yo.
Yeah.
It said system overload. It's not recording our.
Oh, really?
Our vocals. So hold on. Good thing I checked it, dude.
Do we have space on the mat?
There was It should. I doubt that your storage is full. I'll check.
So didn't get any of it so far?
It looks like it got like 8 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, more than that actually. Where am I going? Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's storage on there. Pause and story.
It'll still go on there.
Yeah, it'll still be.
I forgot how to look at the storage. Where do you go?
You go to system. You go to About This Mac. You go to the Apple. About This Mac storage.
It is close. You got 21 gigs available.
Okay, no, it should be enough.
I'll just keep an eye on it.
Yeah. All right. So Ethan, he would like for like 2 months he would be like, or like a month he was like, yo, like every time I was at work he was like, yo, how's the album coming? We're on it. And I appreciated it because there was a week where I didn't work on it in between, like right before I did the vocal mix or whatever. But it was only like I only had like 10 days left after that or whatever. And he was like, "Oh, how's the album coming?" I was like, and I was like, I honestly like didn't work on it last week, but I'm gonna do it. And it kept me true to like putting it out on my birthday. So even at that last weekend, when you're like, "Oh, we could sit here and just work on it, like you know, spend as much time to work on it," and then we were just kind of like, "Now we should just continue on the path, just like." Do what we can and then put it on my birthday. Yeah. You know? So, but part of it was him telling, like, him being like, yo, because I was like, okay, there's someone out in the world who's now putting this, like, almost pressure on the fact of only because of something that I said. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So then, like, even up to the date, I'm like, all right, it comes out, like, tonight, basically, blah, blah, blah. And then last week at work, him and Trey and Kaylee and his brother Jackson, all of them at basically said they're going to listen to it. Or I figured that Trey and Kaylee listened to it, but none of them said anything about it. So I'm sitting there at work, I'm trying to think, like, did you listen to it? Did you not listen to it? If you listened to it and you didn't like it, you don't want to tell me. Or you didn't listen to it and you don't want to tell me. And in my mind, I'm like, either way, it doesn't matter. Like, you like it, you don't like it. Wasn't time for you to understand it or whatever. Just sit down and have the space to take it in. I'm not tripping, but I'm just like, it was just weird how much, like, how much energy was surrounding it before the release to it being released, and then what the energy was after that. So part of me is like, I don't know what, So I'm not sure. Even Michael, shout out Michael too. He was like, I'm gonna listen to it.
Yeah.
Like when he said happy birthday, but he never said anything. So I'm like, I don't know if they listen to it or not. That's just people who said they were going to listen to it. You know what I mean? Otherwise, if no one ever listens to it, then
It's like
matter,
you also have to take in. I was wondering why my thing was so quiet. I had my mic backwards. I noticed that and I was like, I wonder if it matters. And now,
definitely matters.
Now my voice, I can see the waves. I'm like, why is it so small?
It definitely matters. There's some mics that it doesn't. That's what they use for when they're doing like a choir or like when they want you to feel like they'll put like the mics and it hits all the circles so people are singing all in a.
Yeah, mine's good now.
I can't remember which one it's called.
You also just have to take in the timing factor because just like the same thing you're willing to afford yourself where you're like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah.
And then also there's a thing, I mean, I read this and it really struck true with me where it's like if you take like 18, I don't even want to say that many, let's just go like 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago. Or I don't even know. Whenever people wrote letters to each other and they'd write a letter and they'd send it and then you would get the letter however long it took to get to you, then you would write your response whenever you got to it. Like whenever you had a night where you could sit down, like this would be a night, like, oh, I'm going to answer some letters.
True.
And then you would seal it up, take it to the post office or whatever, and then they would take it to the next person. It would take time, like actually travel, like a train or whatever, to get to where it's supposed to go. And then that person would open up and they'd read all the responses of everything that was said or the conversation, and then you would read, you know what I mean? And it took if we were like this, it would take a week for the message to get passed along.
Yeah.
So it's kind of new. And so if you take human beings, especially before even like, I don't know what would be the oldest, like carrier pigeons, the time of passing on information that wasn't to people just around you, that we've spent more time in our known history where it wasn't instantaneous.
Yeah.
So for us to be able to like mentally adapt to that immediately, it's like, to me, I just feel like I don't apply myself to that standard because I was talking to someone at work actually because they had sent me a text and I just didn't answer it. And then I see them at work, right? And I haven't answered their text and I'm cool with them. And I'm always like, oh, I read your text. I always say that, I saw your text. I was like, I just forgot to respond. And it's like, it is what it is. Like, I forgot.
Yeah.
If your feelings are hurt, it's not my fault. Like, get over it.
Yeah, I feel that.
But it's like, he doesn't take it that way. But it's like one of those things that like, we had this
It's almost like
conversation.
audacious to expect someone, like for you to send a message and someone to stop everything they're doing, drop everything, and then respond to you instantaneously.
Yeah.
Which is why I have my notifications off. Because I don't want the phone to be able to change how my day is going.
Yeah. Yeah. The only notifications I have is...
If I choose to go on the phone, that's my choice.
Yeah.
I chose to open up the phone, and whatever the phone brought is what the phone brought. You know? But
yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. That makes sense.
So in that regard, I mean...
So I'm not tripping about it, honestly, but it was just like... It was just weird. Because it was like... I'm not the one who's even bringing the excitement for the album. I'm just doing it. I'm just telling you this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And this other person, this other outside force is bringing this, and then the album comes and there's no...
In retrospect, you should have staged your Friday night birthday party as the album release party.
I was. That's why I told Trey and them too. That's why I said I was like releasing, and it was Trey's idea because I remember when we did the other one, I'm pretty sure I had people over, but I just remember Trey was like, I told him it's all gonna come out my birthday, blah blah blah. He's like, oh, you're gonna do an album release celebration? I was like, yeah. Then the day comes,
nobody shows up,
and no one shows up. You know what I mean? It's really me, you, Bree, Eddie, and Kita. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
yeah.
So and I don't even bro, like I don't remember all my fucking friends' birthdays, dude. You know, like I don't have like a calendar that tells me all their. But whenever I see it, I was like, oh, it's their birthday. I'm usually like, yo, happy birthday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like I think it was just in general, just so much like, and I think even with the podcast, like the past few weeks before the album, and this like the things that I was going through or whatever, like there weren't very much like
it wasn't the time. Like, I'm not gonna speak on him on the microphone right now. Maybe in the music you'll hear him, but but I'm not gonna sit here and everything I went through in the past 2 weeks. I'm not just gonna drop on this microphone right now. Maybe in the future when it's like more thought out or more time has passed or whatever. So I just felt almost like kind of not disconnected, but like farther away. Like earlier podcasts, especially the beginning ones, out like there'll be times where it'd be like me and you, like one person will speak with 30 minutes, and you'll speak with 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Just gets that pocket. But I felt myself like I didn't do any of those. Like there was once or twice where I kind of like riff for a little bit, but usually just be comment here, comment there, almost like in the beginning I was almost like the host or whatever and type vibe, and then I kind of just because what I was dealing with, I wasn't gonna put it on the microphone. It was like, and naturally when I'm on here, I'm just gonna speak whatever I'm feeling. I was like, okay, I'm gonna kind of be more, and then by me doing that, everything else happened, and then there was a couple where it was like controversial or this and that, right? So it was like I was like, okay, so if I don't put my presence heavily on it, then this is kind of where it's going now or whatever. So I kind of saw that too. So I don't know, but now I'm like, now I'm just trying to figure out. It's really just keeping that energy, like knowing that okay, we didn't put one out in 1 week and look what happened. Now only 5 people watched. There's only 5 views versus 30 or whatever, So that it's like okay, in this day and age, like consistency is big,
Yeah.
Because especially if there's so many podcasts. Like even me, I'm watching Theo Von podcast earlier today.
Yeah. And then you also watch Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and then I'm Joe Rogan, and
See, for me, what's crazy is that like I'm in so many aspects of my life. I've been ahead of my time in so many different regards. I mean, I'll stick to this one specifically. I spent like my whole late teens, like from 15 to like 19, just like before I was really making music, I was just freestyling and stuff. I spent it just studying and watching. And back then, the podcast wasn't really a big thing. It was more like podcast was that app on your phone that was, you were like, what the hell?
Yeah,
what do you even do with that app?
Yeah.
And but it wasn't like how well known it is today. Like everybody knows what it is today.
Yeah. A lot of it was like radio interviews.
Radio. Like maybe like what's his name? Oh man, the guy with like he always wears the black glasses, like long curly hair, black hair. He's kind of controversial, dude.
Vlad?
No. He's old school.
He's
had Kendrick on there, Kanye on there. Rod Stewart?
No, Howard Stern.
Howard Stern, yeah. He would probably be the first one that I would like mark as like a podcast.
In a way, yes, because
not the first podcast, but the one that I saw. So like for me, but like me watching like Breakfast Club and Ebro in the morning and even Nardwar, anybody that interviewed like musicians and stuff like that you could take that I could learn from. You know, I spent my late teens doing that. So, and of course in my life I always go to it and I watch things, but I don't do it as much anymore because I think, especially now because I'm working on the game, it's like, most of my free time I'm spending in there doing that, and it's very time consuming, but I enjoy it. But there's time and place for everything, and everyone gets there at different times, and so it's like, I think like a lot of the things that people do in the world and the mainstream were things that I once did and I once enjoyed, like memes. I remember the original memes, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but at least to my knowledge, the original memes that I ever saw were on this app called iFunny.
Yeah.
And back then, I had it when the app first came out, and there was not even 1,000 memes up there. And there was like a bunch of categories, and I had seen every single one. And the only thing that was new, and I knew I would go on there every single night before I went to bed before school, was like middle school. And I knew like of all the categories, like 12 to 20 categories, I knew the number of each one. So if one only had 13 in it and the next day had 14, I knew there was a new one in there. And I would go look at it. And so I'd seen all like the original memes that before they existed or were like super big or whatever. I had seen it on that app, and I thought it was hilarious. Now keep in mind I was like 12 years old, 11 years old. So I was I just thought it was hilarious. And then I remember when Twitter started to get bigger and people started like doing meme stuff on Twitter, and it became like a super popular thing. And then obviously the transition to Instagram, and and all that. And then it got really, really big in the late 2010s and stuff. But it's like stuff like that like, and by the time it was popular for everybody, I was like, this shit is stupid as fuck. Like, this is so stupid. But at the same time, I remember when I remember the time that I enjoyed it. So it's like, you can't really hate on it because
Yeah.
I understand
Definitely
that. But this is what I realized in our conversation.
It's a balance of everything. Like, you can't compare yourself to really anyone.
Yeah.
You know? You can't be like, just like that. You can't be like, oh, look at this person's, where someone is at in the music industry or whatever. Oh, look where they're at. And then you can't turn around and be like, oh, look where they're at. They're just on their phone scrolling.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
Cause I do
at some point in time, you're on your phone scrolling at some point in time.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think what I realized in like the conversation we had with Calvin and Bree the other day, like I realized that like part of my like frustration in life comes from just like the pain of reaching a destination before a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
Because when you get to somewhere, it's like the mountaintop. Like you get to the mountaintop, but you're the only one there.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and you want other people to come there.
Yeah.
But then they don't, and eventually you pack up and leave because you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then you see other people go up there, and they're like, and you're like, man, I was there, but I was alone when I was there. But now I'm just on to the next mountain.
Yeah.
You know, and then you just continue to do that. But I think the idea is just you leave your mark in that way. And then when people get there and they find that place, you know, it becomes something that they can use as like this person was here, you know. And it's like I think that's the thing about the music that is important to remember. And I could probably tell you more than anybody else. Like you have like everything you put out. It's like if you didn't experience those emotions in a day, then it's okay that people don't take it in a day.
Yeah.
And so I understand that from like, it's a time and place thing.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
I never, every song I never did it to, you want people to listen, but I never did it because I was like, I'm trying to get like,
Yeah.
it's more just like you leave these coded messages because at the end of the day, over time, the way that the future generations will translate those and pass them on, the idea is really to be able to, you know, you spawn into this world, and if you're lucky or blessed, you somehow find yourself finding your way towards who you are, and you didn't fall into one of the thousands of pitfalls in the system that keep you from self-discovery, because there's so many things that are here to stop you or give you a lane. You know, instead of finding your own lane, it's like so many things will be like, you start to lean, they'll be like, oh, there's a lane here. Oh, there's a lane here. And they keep trying to catch you in a net.
100%.
So if you're lucky enough to like skate by all those nets and traps.
I remember when I was in the enterprise internship, they did they had like the orientation or whatever, and they got you in this room with all the people, and you got this guy who's like been in there for like 20 years, and he's got like whatever amount of vacation, like a bunch of vacation, good job, doesn't pay for his car, blah blah, basically like showing you like how good life is. And when you're in there, you're like, okay, yeah, like I could feel myself. I was like, okay, yeah, like they have a really good program. So I was like, okay, yeah, like you do this, you do that, boom, boom, that's a good amount of money. Like life's not bad or whatever. And then I walked out right when I walked out the building, and I went back outside, and my head had space to think, and I was like, wait, I don't want to fucking do this. I was like, oh, that's good. I was like, I can see how people get trapped in this thing. So I was like, that person made a whole lot of sense. However, well, if you're not paying attention, this man's been in there for 20 years. They tell you that, like, because what Enterprise is set up, like, you're in a room. When you walk into an Enterprise to go get your car, there's going to be like 4 people in there: the manager, the assistant manager, and then like 3 people who are management trainees. So every single person in there is supposed to become a manager, or they get weeded out. And it continues to go up and up and up and up and up all the way. So you can be like 15 years in, and you're competing for one spot with another guy, and only one you can get it. But you're not allowed to stay where you're at because they have the other guy coming behind you. You know what I mean? So I was like, so you could go 19 years and get fucking booted out. Now you don't get this, you don't get that. I was like, dude, fuck that. But I was like, but I could tell. I was like, for people who need structure, things like that, like this is, I can see how they get people in here. Then come to a fact, like one of my boys is in it. He's far in now, and I was like, I could have easily been there.
Could have been me.
You know, and so thank God that when I came down here and then I applied with a letter of recommendation, everything from like my area manager and shit. I really don't know how I didn't get it, but they didn't get it. Remember? I turned it, I was like, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I remember.
So I went around town because I was like, all right, just graduated. Whole plan was to like work at Enterprise, blah, 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 and do the music shit. And then I was like, then I get Enterprise, like, what am I fucking going to do now? So I went around town, like, I walked into Kroger, walked right out. I think I walked into, like, TJ Maxx, saw everyone looked like a fucking robot, and was like, no. And I was driving home, and I drove past the golf course, and then I remember one of my boys, he was, like, bartending at a country club. I was like, oh, I could probably do that. So I went in there, and then one thing led to another. But what I realized is if I would have done the Enterprise thing, I would have been locked into this 9 to 5, 40-plus hour draining work week.
You would have never met
versus
Calvin
like,
and Eddie if you did
yeah,
that.
versus like going to Flat Creek where I met Calvin and only having like little hours, like really not even worth working at all, but you get a couple $100. But it gave me like the parents off the back, and then gave you maybe the chance to
Also experience.
Yeah, give you the chance to actually do the music or whatever, because
Yeah.
that's what I knew, and that's what I knew halfway, like halfway through school. It was a debate. I was like, I knew I didn't need to go here anymore, but I was already halfway, and
Might as well finish.
and I had this feeling. I was like, look at all these kids that are around. Like, we're all in this. And if I'm, like, 18, 19, 20, growing and experiencing all these new things and blah, 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 like, this kid next to me can do the same thing. Like, he can open his mind, too. He can whatever. So I was, like, I had this, like, very much, like, fucking unrealistic hope that we could have this army of people.
See, I had
You
the
know?
same thing, and this is when I got out of high school, because I was still 17, and I went to college, I was still 17. And I had the same thing, because by the time, like I said, I'd arrive to the destination before other people, like, because of me knowing some of your friends and some of the older people that I was around, and the access that I had, just because of what I was doing, I've reached destinations that other people didn't get to till later. And so by the time I was like at 15, I was doing what the 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds are doing. So by the time I got there, I was bored. And I wanted to do more stuff. I wanted to do like stuff that felt like it would like fulfill my soul.
Mm-hmm.
But like nobody was on that.
Yeah.
And I had this idea that like, oh, I'm going to go to college and it's going to be like this progressive thing. People are there, they're trying to change the world type shit. Plus, I was just heavily inspired by like Pro Era and Underachievers, Flopper Zombies, and the message
For sure,
that they
was
were
definitely a huge
pushing,
like,
because it really felt like the world was going to change.
Yeah, like this group of people is growing.
And I think if people actually listen to them,
And because they were like around, they're like our age, you know what I mean, too. So it was like, look at these people that are
it's
like
possible. But for me, like, okay, that was personal, yeah, because you're like, personally, you're like, okay, these guys are not that much older. Look at the success they're doing. And what they're doing is great, and you're inspired by that. But in terms of the outward thing, I think like at the time, if more people did listen to what they were saying in that era, then I think maybe the world would look different today.
Definitely.
But unfortunately and fortunately, but it's one of the. It's like this is what I was saying, like before. So I'll full circle it. Like if you're lucky enough, if you're blessed enough, you can dodge the pitfalls of the system, you know, in whatever way you do it. Because there's so many, and some of them are shiny, you know, they're not all dark and dingy, but if you can dodge the pitfalls of the system and somehow find out who you are, and then now take that newfound knowledge or old found knowledge of who you are and apply it to whatever it is that you want to do or love to do, then the thing becomes about like, okay, first step was find who I am, second step is do it. And now the do it part is the dangerous part. The finding who you are part, the system is already set up to trap you. So that's already set up, but you already passed that. Once you find who you are, there's nothing that can move you away from it.
Yeah.
Like once you have that knowledge, there's nothing that will stop you, because all those things that are already built are there to keep people from finding the knowledge.
Yeah.
But once you find the knowledge, you're free to the extent, right? You're not really free, but you're free from every time someone tries to sell you a lie. If you didn't find out immediately, you'll find out eventually. A lot faster than most people will. Some people will spend 60 years to find out the lie. You'll find it out in 6 hours, 6 days.
Yeah.
But in reality, when I look at it, at that point in time, if you are somebody who, and you find it in your life, and you find who you are, and you find a message through what you're doing, that you know that people are missing this, and it becomes your duty or obligation to share, so that you can pass along that wisdom, because there's like a line from one of those, I forget what song it is, but it's a hip hop song. It goes, others such as myself choose to carry on tradition, something like that. It's a classic line. I forget the song. I think it's Whose World, or The World Is Yours by Nas. I can't remember though. But anyway, so the point is like, at the end of the day, if you take, if you go back at each generation, you'll find people in those generations that understood that the value, and understood what it means to really know who you are and what you're doing on this planet, and your connection to whatever you want to call it, divine presence. And then you want to pass the information on so that the next generation can receive it. So in reality, the moment that the lights turn on and everybody knows who you are, that's when your timer starts. And if you stay true in your lane, the end of that is, I mean, the end for everybody is death.
Yeah.
But in terms of this life,
is it natural or?
But your timer is turned on, and because at the end of the day, like, the system is built to keep people in boxes. And I look around, and the way I see people think is like, when they take those little mouses and they put them in the little mazes, and then they look around for the cheese or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like that. That's the way people think. Yeah,
but the cheese been taken. Gotta lie.
But
everything you're saying, people should go listen to Navigator.
But what I'm saying is, the way I view it is, my walls are not like the solid walls that everybody else sees. My walls are like a liquid gel. Yeah. That I can see through, and I can move through with resistance, because there is resistance. It's not like air where I can just pass through it. It's liquid gel. I can move through it, but it's like moving through Jello. I gotta go like that to get through it, because it's set up in a way for it not to be like that. Yeah. But in reality, if you can, this is the craziest thing. If you can find out who you are and start applying it into the system, and be able to continue and continue and continue and continue to create more and more and more and more and more without anybody knowing what you're doing, that's the best position you can possibly be in. Yeah. So everything you're saying, or everything that we talked about earlier, or it's like the comparison thing, it's almost irrelevant, because you have the best spot. Yeah. Because these other guys, they have to watch what they're saying to a degree, because it's more dangerous.
Well, that's what I was saying like a couple months ago, and I was like, what's the rush? But why wait? Yeah. It's a perfect balance in between. What's the rush of getting to these things where your timer ends up start ticking, or you can't go to Walmart because without having like someone run up. Like I saw Connor McDavid was with his wife, like they're putting White Claws in the back of their car, and it was some random, and these Edmonton, fans are all on him, like, oh, well, you can just see him, he's like all he's trying to do is just go home with his wife, and just he's at the grocery store, but you got these people like all around him. Now, granted, they're hyped because Edmonton's in the cup for whatever time, and Connor McDavid's the best player in the league, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But this dude who's literally just living his life, like, he has a couple of days off before he's got to get right back into the grind. Yeah. He's just with his wife, and he's got to deal with whatever comes around with it. So then it's like, what's the rush of getting to that? But then if you never do anything, if you just wait around, then nothing will ever happen. So it's a balance of both, right?
Well, in my mind, it's really just about the application of it. Because I think, like, the best, and one day I'll somehow get this in an image format. The way I can describe the way that I see the world in the current state is, like, I'm going to give you a picture, and maybe you can imagine it. So, in the middle foreground, so the middle of the photo, you have, like, a fence with barbed wire on it. It's in the middle of the photo. Then you have 2 towers, one a bit farther, one a bit closer, and these are like guard towers, watch towers, and they got the big lights. And then you got some grass and you got stuff, and the guard towers are searching. They're looking around for people. And my perspective is like this, like the way I'm looking. It's like this. Just looking out, but staying low key because I'm not trying to get seen by them, because I know that what I'm doing and what I do with the music and the way I think is, at the end of the day, like, there's two outcomes that happens for any situation. If you introduce if you take a biome like a swamp, you listening?
I'm listening.
Okay. And you have like whatever life is in there, right? You got like frogs in there, whatever, doesn't matter. And then you introduce a different species to that biome. One of 2 things will happen in nature. One, that species will completely change the entire biome, because what its requirements are will affect the entire ecosystem. It won't just blend in perfectly. Maybe there's like a small fraction that can happen. Like, you just seamlessly blend in and you don't change anything. You just become a part of it. Like that. But for the most part, you're either going to completely change the biome, or the biome will get rid of you. It's one of 2 things, for the most part. And so the way I look at the world, when I sit and I think and I look at the world and I watch the way people move, and I watch the mainstream stuff, and I see the mentality when I talk to people, and I see where they're at with it, and I go to where I think, how I think, and the way I move. Where if you take like 1,000 people you met in your life from when you were a kid to now, all people close to your age or around your age, most of them gave up on their dreams. Most people give up on their dreams. So even just a simple factor of, I didn't give up on my dreams, and I'm still doing it regardless of anything, that's a mentality that most people don't have. So take all the other stuff out of it, because, it is what it is. But just that simple factor alone, that is a foreign mentality to the ecosystem that we live in. So if you're able to sneak in the ecosystem and start planting your seeds all around as much as you possibly can without getting noticed, that's the best thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I mean,
in my mind, like what you said about like the people not listening, it's like,
it's not about that they're not listening. Like, I don't care that if 10 people listen or if 1,000 people are listening currently right now. I was never the one to go on the app and check the listeners. I never actually care. But to me, this, in my mind, everything I've done in the past like 2 weeks has all just been what I knew deep down to be true, just amplified all in one. And I'm like, it was true. Damn, that's disappointing. Disappointing that no one comes to visit. It's disappointing that people around you might not really be what you put them out to be yet or ever. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm like, this, in my mind, I'm like, if you're when I told Nathan that, like, I'm going to listen to it, but I didn't say I'm going to listen to it today and didn't do it. My mind is like, what if basically I was saying those couple of people, was like, they either listen to it and they don't want to tell me what they think, or they didn't listen to it. But they're the ones who told me they're the ones who were like, oh, it's coming out tonight, bet. So in my mind, I'm like, that's what I was saying. Whether they listen to it or not is not the point. It was just like these people that I felt like, okay, we're getting, like, especially because I had met them recently. I'm like, okay. I'm like, especially after I said I hadn't met anyone real in a couple months, and it's bring me down. Then I meet these people, I'm like, and then now they're asking me about this, and now I'm like, oh shit. Even if they tell me they didn't like it, I would rather that than not say anything at all. So I'm basically just like, it's not what it seems like. It's not what it was. It's not really what it was like. And I understand the point of giving the time and this and that. So I don't really care if people listen to it or no. Like, I'm not pressed about that. I'm not pressed about being famous. I'm not pressed about any of this. All I really care about is leading the way for the children. At the end of hope, that's why in Hopefuls is all we need is I say a bunch of shit in there, but basically I say, like, the next generation needs coaches too. It's like we need people like us, people like these people that are here, and we can't have them die at 30. We need them to be able to get to
Or 21.
yeah, or earlier. So I'm cool with being 28. I'm cool with if it's 35 when fucking diamond record or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I don't care, like whatever, because I'd rather just live life. I'm content with just sitting here all day and just vibing. Now I don't do this every day. I don't just sit here every day and do nothing. Just like, but I was like, all right, today, like the past couple of days, like okay, like I don't really feel like doing anything. I know I want to do the video, but it's also like I know I can't just sit there and force the idea out. Like all the ideas I had so far is literally just sitting there and it's like bang, bang, bang. They just come to me like boom. So I'm just like, okay, I just gotta get in the mode where I'm receiving what I want, and that's just so I know I'm gonna get there or whatever. And it's like I was like, oh, I kind of want to get in the studio, but then they came earlier, so I'm like, okay, they're in the studio. So it was like the universe telling me like, okay, not to go make music right now. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out like what am I supposed to do? Because it's like, you know, I spent all these time, and that's why I say on that record I say, I really question what's the reason I spent all those years with all those people, for what? Really deep down, for what? Like what was the point? Like what was the point of having all those conversations, all those for my personal growth? Okay, yes, like different things, like whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, and that's where I'm like where I realize now it's not really so much about where we're at or whatever. It's just like seeing like the way I've been moving and knowing, even in the last conversation the other night when Kita's mom was here or whatever. Like I was like very much like I understood because I was like usually in these moments I would be saying a lot more. But I was like, I'm not really saying anything at all. And it's like, I'll give a comment here and there, but I'm just really letting everyone else talk, you know? And I'm like, and I realized I was like, it made me sad because I was like, the way I move is different now. All in 1 week. And all because of these different things where it's like, when I'm on here, like the podcast is something that, you know, like I kind of was like, we should do this. And it was like, and I got all this stuff to make it happen. So I was like, so here on the music, because the music is more than just me. It's transcending beyond me. So all these places are like in the music and whatever in between me and you. Like I'm gonna be fluent, or I'm gonna just say how I feel or whatever, or be me. But in different conversations, like I was even talking to Eddie. Like Eddie asked me a couple things, and I didn't say anything about it until he asked me. And I was like, see, you asked me the questions, then I'll respond. And now I'm at this point now where I'm like, I don't want to just give people my perspective anymore. I don't want to just willy-nilly offer what I had, because even if it is good advice or whatever, I don't really want to influence someone else in someone else's day unless they ask me to. And it's like, because what happens is, what I do is I do these things and I end up getting hurt in the end. I end up the one who's disappointed. I end up the one who's whatever. In my mind, it's like, what do? I spend my days giving all my energy and getting none back.
You know? Do you want to know my opinion? If you're saying what do I do? One, you need, first of all, you need a mentality change or redirection. And starting with the 1 degree of separation. That's what I was talking to Kia's mom about. Where instead of, you know, most people when they have an emotion, they feel, I feel this. Or no, they say, I'm sad. I'm sad. But you're only sad because you're saying I'm sad. Really, it's you feel sadness. Yeah. You have to have the degree of separation that separates the I from the feeling and the sadness. I'm the I. What's the I?
I do that.
Being,
I feel like I do that.
So, and then, okay, so that's the first thing. And then 2, your disappointment, I understand the disappointment. Like you say, like why did I spend all those years around those people? And I could look back at my friends from Maryland, the people that I at one point in time I'd die for, and most of them did me dirty. When the cards all were played out, most of it ended with somebody doing something foul to me, and that's how most of them ended. They didn't. Most of them didn't drift apart. I could probably name 3 that we just drifted apart, and if I saw them, it's the same as love because nothing happened. We just drifted apart, and that's life, you know. But most of them did me dirty. So I look back and I can look in like damn, like how many chips did I put in on that table to get nothing out of it? And in that perspective, it's a depressing point of view, because it's true. Like you double down, you put in, you help people out, and then they just squander it. And so it's like, why did I even help you? Why did I even say anything? I could have just let you fall. You know what I mean? And it would have been less off my back just to let you fall. But I helped you up. And I ended up hurting my back because I did it. But I when I look at it now and I think about all those people, I remember when I was 17 and I was in college and I was hanging out. There was like this group of girls we'd hang out with. And I used to tell them, like, I'd be like, oh, like one day I'm going to be on world tour. I didn't even record a song yet. It's like, oh, I'm going to be on world tour one day. And I'd tell people that all the time. Like, I'm going to be on world tour. Like, do you have any songs? I'm like, I'll freestyle, I'll play a beat. That's the early, like, you know, when people are really early getting into, like, yo, play a beat. Like, I'll show you I can, you know what I mean? And, of course, people looked at me like I was crazy, but because in reality, if somebody said that to you right now and they hadn't done anything, my response to them would be like, let's get in the studio. You know what I mean? But these people don't have studios, so they're not. There's no channel for that. But I realized over time that all those things, all those moments, those things that you did, it wasn't ever for you. In reality, it was always for them, and it's always because in order for something to take place, people have to see the effect of the initial thing. So and in order for someone to see the effect and truly understand it, they have to see the initial thing. So I look at all the time I spent with all the different people I spent with that one way or another fizzled out. When it gets to that point where the fruits of the labor are able to be reaped, you will be the example for all those people and all their people and all their kids and everything that they pass along, that it is possible to do what you want to do, be a good person, help others, and succeed. Because even if they don't do it themselves, the one day they'll probably have kids and they'll be like, oh, I went to college with him. Oh, I know him from this. We used to hang out here. And then in their mind, without a doubt, you can't tell yourself that it's not possible to make your dreams come true. And so even if, and not even in a battle of like, oh, I told you so, or that kind of shit, but in the fact of when they have kids, they can look at their kids and they know without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt in their mind, that it's possible to chase your dreams. And what they'll tell their kids is the lessons that you told them that they didn't do. They didn't listen. But they'll pass it on because they will want success for their people.
Yeah.
That is almost unanimously true across all humanity. Even though not everybody is unanimous, everybody wants success for their people. Mostly everybody. Mostly everybody want to see their kids succeed or their closest people succeed. Like the real closest people, not the the real ones. You want to see them succeed, so you will pass along the information that they need to be successful.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't apply it yourself, even if you missed your...
That's the thing. I would never deny the moment where I know the light's on me to say what I have to say. But what I realize is, like, for the longest time, I've just, like, done things for other people. And at this point, I'm like, I got to protect myself first.
Yeah.
So it's like, in the sense, it's like, at work, I can say how I think about the situation, but me not saying anything in the recent past, what happens now, people have come and told me things, and I'm like, I've been in that emotion. I've been there. Yeah. And now I'm like, I just try to do what I can to be like, okay, well, you know, I understand your frustration or whatever. Yeah. But at one point in time, I would turn back and just I'll be like, yeah, this happened to me. And I'm like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, it really, when it comes down to it, like, the people that are around you and, you know, that all that matters. But it's like, I don't lie when I say that everyone that's in my life leaves. And I don't know why. I really don't. I can't tell you why, except for you. Part of the crew, mate. You know, except for you know, and even so, it's like, so in my mind, it's like, if I've been doing this for all this time and it ends up here, it's like, I don't really know if I want to continue doing this same thing to continue ending up here, where it's like, so maybe like you said, change the mentality. So I'm just trying to figure out what the balance is of, you know, in the moments, like when things are going down and moments are happening, if I don't do anything, watch what happens. All this shit implodes, and right in front of my face, me not doing anything. So I'm like, what other scenarios in my life should I stop doing something to just see how it unfolds?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. That's where my mentality is really, where it's like, if I'm building all these houses in this neighborhood, and then I don't touch this house and it blows over, how many should I just stop touching, see what blows over and what stands still, just to get a perspective of where are we actually at?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, if I'm the only one holding this thing up, I can't hold up everything. You know what I mean? Can't hold up. So it's like, the things that need to be held up will continue to be held up, but the things that it's like, that's why I said, it's the balance of what's the point. All the stuff that I'm like, what's the point? And I can instantly be like, that's the point. Or that, I have to do this. Like the podcast. What's the point of the podcast? This is the point. And I know I had in my mind.
What's the point?
My point in my opinion, for the podcast is that you got at least Michael out there watching every week. The reason why I started this, because I know that our conversations, whether they're on the porch or whatever, are conversations that, just like I like listening to Joe Rogan, I don't listen to every single episode, but the ones that I feel like, oh, I should tune into this one, I tune in. Same thing with Theo Vaughn and blah, blah, blah. Usually with the comedians or whatever. So, and I could tell, I'm like, and especially when I first started watching, I was like, I could do this. And I'm like, and then I realized, I was like, our conversations are probably some of the best conversations that are happening on the planet, in my mind. And there's going to be people who are going to want to sit as a fly on the wall and take in the information and be like, oh, I would say this. There's been plenty of times where I'm sitting there and be like, if I was at that table right now, this is what I would say in Joe Rogan's studio and shit like that. Yeah. So it's like getting people the chance to be able to do that. And then with the music, it's like we do the music, but also you get a different side of someone. This is like, you can go listen to the music, but then this is like entering the more personal side, where it's like, you know, people, like for instance, R. Kelly, like people are going to listen to R. Kelly music even though he did whatever, because they dissociate the person with the music. This is the song from Space Jam. If I hear that song, this song's from Space Jam. I don't even think it's R. Kelly. I'm like, this is just the song from Space Jam.
I didn't even know there was an R. Kelly song.
This is the I Believe I Can Fly.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's like iconic song, right? But
I thought that was Seal for some reason.
Especially with the music, especially with all this stuff happening with Drake and Kendrick, like the line of what's happening in the music industry is way different. But then when you go into the podcast thing, it's like, this is like a more personal side of life, so people can tune and come and just see who we are, even more level than in a different form, in a different art form. Yeah. So in my mind, like, the reason why this is important is because in 10 years from now, when there's been one, like Tony Hinchcliffe, I was watching his thing. He puts out Kill Tony for every Monday for 11 years, and now it's like one of the top grossing YouTube videos every week.
Is that where they all sit on the thing and
they bring out the comedians, and he gets to do what he loves to do. He's bringing random people put their name in the hat and they get called up. They get 60 seconds to show the world that they could be a comedian too. And then if they do, and he likes them, he brings them back and he brings them back. So he's literally bringing a stage for people to come into the wolf's den and get better. And this is like, how do you get better? This is what you do. And especially in that scene, then you got Joe Rogan down there with the club and they're building this thing. So now, after everything that man's been, whatever, he loves comedy so much that he's helping breed the next generation of comedians, as well as he gets to do with what he wants with no bosses or whatever. And it's big enough to do in Madison Square Garden, shit like that. And that all started from a podcast, and it's a little different because the way whatever, but all started from something. So it's like, for me, I'm like, in 10 years, it's not going to be 5 people. It's going to be a lot more. And we're going to have people that are going to want to come stay with us, and they're going to want us to come stay with them. Yeah. And I can see this all the way before we even have one episode. So I'm like, that's why I know it's important. Last week or 2 weeks ago, when we didn't put one out, I said the reason why I'm not doing it is because it's symbolic. Because if we're doing it all 4 of us, that's why it didn't come out last week. But in reality, it's like, if we're going to be honest, me being like, should we do it? I'm ready just to sit there, smoke a joint, and play video games. And I'm content. I'm content being like, yeah, it's all right. Fuck it. Who cares? But then you saying, oh, let's do one. I'm like, I'm not going to, you're like, oh, I'm not going to be like, no, let's not do it. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Because Because I know that realistically, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Every time. You know, and sometimes, in some ways, there's probably where it's like, sometimes it feels like the music's doing better. Sometimes it can feel like, oh, I'd rather just sit and just talk. And whatever. And different. And it could, and anyone, like, and it's just like, it's such a beautiful platform. We can bring anyone can come speak. We can speak with any kind of person, whether we know them, whether we don't know them. And they can, whatever. And it's like, yes, only 1 or 2 people listen right now, or 30 or whatever. But in my mind, it's like, though that person who's listening is getting something every week. So once I realized that there's someone waiting Wednesday, they're looking at Wednesday at noon to make sure the episode dropped, I realized that I can't fail them now. Because this one person is now driving the ship even farther, saying that, like, there is someone out there. There is that hope that this will get to where it's supposed to be.
Okay, this is where I feel like, from you saying that, where I feel like I will call it a flaw, but it doesn't matter what word I use. It's just that's the word I'll use. A flaw in your mentality is that you have, in my opinion, like, taking it from that thing of, like, you're existing in this, like, if 0 is neutral, you only go positive. And because of that, your backlash is only negative. Because your energy, like, if you just looked at it as a scale, like, let's say from 0 to 50 and 0 to 50 equals 100. Technically it's 101 because 0 is whatever. But 0 to 50, 0 to negative 50. So if you're always looking at it like, okay, I have to do this because, there's a conversation happening. I can add something in there and they might need that piece. Because if they don't get that piece, then something negative might happen. So you're giving them this always, and the equal and opposite reaction becomes, boom, right here, for you, because you aren't content unless you have done this, and now you're in a space where you're not doing it, but you're staying here.
No, I said no. What I said was that I've realized that we're influential people. And everywhere we go, we're going to influence.
I was talking about, like, when you saying you refrained your thoughts where normally you would give them.
What, on the podcast?
No, I mean just in general. Like, we were having that conversation, you normally would have a lot to say.
Yeah, no, I realize that, but also it's because in my mind it's like there's some other stuff we need to talk about here, but it's not the time, it's not the place, and because people might not even know why.
See, this is so what I'm getting at is that, like, I have this thing where, like. And I do the same thing. That's why I recognize it. Where I'm always going for that thing. What information can I give you? But I also recognize that sometimes you have to purposely go this way. Like, because it's not my job to judge, right? It's not my job to judge me. It's not my job to judge you.
Yeah.
So because of that, I know that if I need to be a little wicked, I will be wicked. Because I know that I'm supposed to be wicked. If it's granted, I'm supposed to. Like, I'll give you an example. There was this dude at my work. He got fired because he was like, I'm not even gonna get into it. He did a lot of weird shit. But anyway, so he's getting there and he's a little testy. Like, he's like testing. He keeps testing me. And at first I kind of like, I just ignored him. I was like, you know what I mean? But then eventually I was like, you know what? If he's gonna keep testing me regardless, and if I try to play it cool, he's gonna keep fucking with me, and I'm gonna have to, and then whatever. So I'm just like, okay, all right. So then when he came over to me and started testing me a bit, he came over to me. I was like flipping the trash, and he tried to snatch the trash out of my hand. So I just went up to him and I grabbed him and I pulled him to the thing and I told him, I was like, I know where the cameras aren't. And I let him go. And I went back to my job. And after I said that, he was cool. He didn't say anything. He didn't test me. He wasn't pressuring me. He wasn't whatever. So it's like the reaction. And after that, we had some good conversations. So I gave him a negative. I went negative 20. And then it jumped the opposite reaction being positive. And so it's like, it's like the old man, you had it back when you were younger, and I told you, you gotta relax because you would always jump negative. And when I say negative, I don't mean it's a negative thing. I mean, like, the direction you take is, like, if you just look at it scientifically, a negative pull versus a positive pull. And like somebody would say something and you would have a smart comment telling them the truth, giving them something that they could use.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll be like, yo, bro, like, you know, where we're at right now, it's got to be careful what you say because people, you know, they take it like they take it. And then So it's like that, but sometimes you have to have one or you have to have the other, and it's like you have to not give a fuck which one it is. And that's the space. If somebody says something rude and I feel like, and I don't, and even if I'm at my job and you're not supposed to say shit back, and I feel like I'm going to say my slick comment, but I'm going to pass it off in a way that I can pass it off to protect myself. But if I feel like people need love, I'll give them love. But at this point, I don't care.
Yeah. I don't know. I think what it comes down to is I think I've just seen a lot of stuff has shown me where it's like if I don't do anything, cards will reveal themselves. And some situations you have to do that. Because if I'm holding up this thing and the only reason why I'm standing up is just because of me, but there's 4 of us here, we need to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in my mind I'm like, that's why I'm like, I got to figure out in what areas do I pull back on and figure out and do nothing in just to see what happens.
Well, that was my frustration with the music. Same thing for the podcast for you is the music for me, where I'm like, everyone can do what they want to do, but you're not finna lie to me.
Yeah.
You lie to yourself, but I'll see it.
Yeah.
But you're not finna lie to me. So it's like I know because I've established myself in this space, just keeping it Oceans on Arrival. I've established my position.
Yeah.
From the beginning, because before it was Oceans on Arrival, I was already building.
Yeah.
And when I finally got the name, I already built enough to be able to have a platform, like to whatever degree it was. So for me, it's like it's as simple as that. It's like, if at the end of the day, I'm going to do this shit, but I'm steering like I said it on Sense of Taste. I said, how do I get there? What was the line? I got a smile on your face, and they kill you when your back's turned. I know I'm smarter. We're going to see who get the last word. I'm not a user. Pay the price and get the password. No, that's the wrong bar. Oh, yeah. It's just, the line is, still ain't trusting nobody till they show me that they can steer. That is the last before I go into the bridge that goes into the hook. So it's as simple as that. It's like we can. It's all love and it's all genuine. It's all good feeling. Whatever we can do to create and whatever. But I'm still not trusting it until you show me that you can steer the boat. Until then, I'm steering the boat.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. So it's like the test runs are over. That's how I feel with the music. I gave everyone the test runs. But the test runs are over. So it's like. You either do it or you don't do it. If you can't steer the boat, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna steer the boat because I'm responsible for the boat, and I won't let it crash.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't care how anyone feels about that because I care about the boat more than I care about anyone's personal feelings.
True.
And so for the podcast, as the fleet, that's your boat, right now, is the podcast. So it's like, if no one else can steer the boat, then you steer the boat. And if they get on it, they get on it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah. I'm not tripping.
Yeah. But the point is to take it from a constructive standpoint where it's like your feeling is actually the neutral one. Like, regardless. Like, if it's there, great. If it's not, great. Like,
yeah,
doesn't matter because it's like, but you have to take take the emotion out of it because it's like, at the end of the day, like, if you're the captain, if you're the Dutchman of your boat, because I'm the Dutchman.
Yeah, but I don't have any negative thoughts, or
I guess maybe the way I'm receiving it feels negative.
I don't have any negative as far as this right here, this podcast. What I'm saying is, on the podcast, the music, everything like that, I'm gonna continue being who I am. I'm gonna continue being, say what pop something out, interrupt when you gotta interrupt, say what you gotta say, blah blah blah. But there's certain situations in my personal life now, interactions, that I realized that I can't just be so willingly to offer my energy. Because what happens is I lose it, and I don't get any reciprocation back.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but I feel like
but at the end of the day, put it this perspective. If I spend on these 3 people, I give all my energy. Now this baby right here, this young kid, doesn't get my full.
But this is what I'm saying, the one-way thing. Your thing is only up.
It's not.
When you go 0, you're only going up. Because if you say all your energy, it doesn't cost you any energy.
It's just
in
the
same regard. I know.
It's just basically like this. Like, at the end of the day, what I realize is, like, what I want is for people to be around. Deep down, at the end of the day, when it comes down to, we can't have a community with one house.
Then tell them the truth.
You know what I mean? So in my mind, exactly. But then it's a balance of, it's not all these relationships just have to do with me. So you have to be careful with what you say, because I'm not the only one in the family. I'm not the only one in the thing.
In my standpoint, where I will carry the like, yeah, we'd be careful with the bomb because there's others around mentality. But at the end of the day, dude, if lines are crossed, then it's at that point, you know, it's war, bro, and civilians get hurt, and that's that. So in my mind, it's like, if we look at the...
I'm not trying to war, though.
I know, but it is, though. It doesn't matter. It's not what we want.
So
look at the world, bro. It's not what we want. So you can't make the... Like, you protect your garden. The moment you step out, it's war.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my thing. It's like, what I realize is I'm very quick to open up the garden and just allow people in.
Yeah.
But then your shit gets stomped on.
Yeah, but you have to know that. You know, I know. I'll take...
So now, basically, I'm just a little more thorough with the gate check. That's all it is. I get, like, you give people the benefit of the doubt, but at the end of the day, at this point, if I look at the scales of everything, what it comes down to, one of the closest friends I have is Nathan, and I haven't seen this man in however long, but he's the only one that I can tell that this person genuinely, at the end of the day, comes to, does this person genuinely give a fuck that you're on the earth?
Yeah.
That's all that really comes down to.
You gotta remember that the garden itself is ever nourishing, and you can afford a few flowers.
Yeah, they can.
So,
and they do.
In my mind, it's like, yeah, but it's like, that's the thing. You know, I know flowers are gonna get stomped, because that's that. Kids are a perfect example of that. Like, how many of my flowers get stomped because of the recklessness of the children, and then I gotta go around and just put shit back together, and I make it known, like, yo, stop stepping on this flower.
But that's
and then they try their best, right? And they do. And when they try, that's when I don't care. Like, I mean, I care to the extent of, like, I appreciate that. I don't care that my flower got stomped. But it's when, you know, you don't, if someone says that they're not going to stomp it and they stomp it, that's when they go out the garden. That's how I feel in my heart. And it's all those situations with all the falling outs that have gone on.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like, if you're in the garden and you accidentally step on some shit, I can forgive that. But when you do it on purpose, I can't forgive that. You have to leave. And that's that. And that's how I treat it. So it's like, but I'm okay with it.
But at this point, everyone's gone from the garden. So what does it matter?
Because the garden's not for them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're building only for the present, then every hope and aspiration,
I'm not building only for the present. But at the end of the day, it's like, at the end of the day, show me one sign. Where's the one sign that says there's the hope of it?
I think I feel like, I don't know. I mean,
because in your life, it's different for me and you.
Yeah.
Because you have a family. We're a family, but you have this thing that's growing.
Yeah, but I didn't have that.
Not all the way.
3 years ago.
I know. I'm not saying you did. And I'm not saying in 3 years I won't.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that currently, right now, today, the way I've been moving, what happens, I end up with no one around. That's what ends up happening. When it comes down to the end of the night, so there's a reason for that. Yeah. So whatever reason, I have to look, is it me or is it other people?
So I'm telling you.
So if it is me, then you tell me, I'm telling you how I'm going to change my mentality, and you try and tell me to do what I've been doing, it's not going to work, bro.
I'm not telling you to do what you've been doing.
Because I've been doing that. Everything you're saying, I've been doing that. I give what I give. I'll throw the shot if I need to. I've been doing that. So at the end of the day, it's like...
Yeah, but I also feel like you took it from before. You're more emotional now than you were before.
Yeah.
You need to become more calculated again. Make your decisions off calculation. And that it's like, when you make a comment that you have no emotion tied to it, and comedians are the perfect example. When they say some shit that the emotion... of course, everything is tied to emotion in a certain degree because everything's interconnected. But when you take it from the 1 degree of removal from that emotion... then it doesn't, you're just saying it because it's like, this what needs to be said. However you feel about it doesn't even matter anymore. That's the approach that in these songs that I've been creating the past couple of days that I've been reminding myself, because I'm like, do I want to say that? But I'm like, it doesn't matter how I feel about it, because this is what's in my spirit to say. So it's like,
but I haven't not said anything I thought I should say.
Fair. But then it's only in the matter of what's in your reach.
It's just in the moment. It's just what I realize is that I give too much. That's what I realized. I give too much in these moments. I give too much where I didn't take the time to actually listen to it. Not really listen, but to give them the extra 2 minutes to say what they need to say. Because me trying to get them to that door, but maybe they just needed 2 more minutes to figure out how to get there. Yeah. And I cut them off, And I gave them the key to the door, but they didn't. But I gave them the rings, and they didn't know which key it was. And if they would have just waited 2 more minutes and kept talking, they would have told themselves which one it was. And that's where I'm at, where it's like, what's the balance of me knowing how powerful and how strong I am and how influential I am, knowing that, and watching me say something and watch someone's life change the way I say it, negative, positive, whatever it is, I can see. So I'm like, but then how much is it up for me to do that? Where is it my place to do that versus letting them just find it themselves?
You gotta remove the outcome,
You know?
dude. Like, a couple of things. The reason I'm saying this is because when we first moved here, all that time that you weren't here, I spent by myself.
Yeah.
So I understand what it feels like entirely. And I was the only person when we were talking about hanging out with the people who used to live here that we knew from before. I was the one with my finger on the button, and every time I pushed the button, everyone would get together. When I stopped pushing the button, nobody got together.
Yeah.
And that's the same epiphany. I'm like, if I'm the only one who pushes this button, I don't want to push
Then
the
what's
button
the point?
anymore.
Exactly.
So I understand.
But then those relationships die out for whatever reason.
But
But that's the point. Now where we are is different. Now that facade of what was going on isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at now. It's like, I don't want to pretend. Everything that happened with our family last year got to the point where I'm not pretending anymore. So if I'm going to be in a position where I have to pretend, I don't want to do it. So you have to remove yourself.
Yeah.
And that's sad. Sometimes removing yourself is sadder than other times. And that's part of the emotion, where it's realizing this is what I have to do, and it makes me sad. And it's like, how do I balance that? Where it's like, now I feel sad because of this.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's balancing for either way, because you have optimism for whatever could be in the future, and then you also have to be realistic of what the present is.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's like, and that's why I said in the beginning, it's like, I'm just aware of things that I wasn't aware of before, and I see it differently. And now it's like, it might not even be anyone's fault, but now I see someone else, and now you have to make sure that when you talk, like, you don't expose yourself in the sense of, like, don't treat them differently, you know? And that's where I'm at, where it's like, how do I not treat these things differently how do I still balance? Because I wasn't thinking about it before.
I don't think you're supposed to. I don't think you're supposed to. I really feel like it's like, I feel like you're in my mind, because you're my brother, so I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm looking at it like you're trying to uphold this thing that you can't uphold, because at the end of the day, what the reason why I can disconnect from those things and I can not speak to these people, or these people that have been a part of my life for however long, and just say fuck it, is because I know if you're not real, if you're not finna be real, if you aren't willing to be real with yourself and go through what you need to go through to get over your own illusion, then I cannot unravel with you, because I'm unraveling in my life.
True.
Every day you're peeling off a layer, and you're becoming the part of you, the spirit that like, imagine you're the glowing ball and you're in layers and layers and layers of, that paper mache we used to put, in art class, you make the paper mache shit, layers of paper mache with newspaper articles and shit written on it that someone else wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people are piled up in. And every day you're peeling some shit back, and therefore what your stance is looks different, because the words are different, the articles are different, the shit that you're covered with, the shit that people see about you is different. But some people aren't willing to unravel it. Some people just want to stay in it. But I'm unraveling it. So if people don't want to unravel it, that's fine. But I can't get stuck in somebody else's thing. It's like when you're busy and you're walking somewhere and you got to go somewhere and someone tries to stop you for a conversation. I literally just keep walking, and if they walk with me, then the conversation continues. If they don't walk with me, then the conversation ends right there, because it's like, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm doing this thing. I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry about it, but it's like that's my way of remaining human, of saying politely, like, oh, I'm doing this. If you're coming, you're coming. If you're not, it's fine. Because the reason why is because this is what I want to do. I want to unravel. I want to be able to peel back the layers and let the light shine. And the more you do that, that's the aura. Your aura vibrates at a higher frequency, because more light penetrates those things. And when you do that, especially when you see it in other people, like we were talking about flatbush zombies, underachievers, you can see layers that they've peeled back of themselves. Yeah. That's art. Artists carry that trait. They've peeled back more layers than everybody else. That's why they do what they do, because we know what it is.
But I have been doing that.
So what I'm saying is, I feel like for me, you have to look at that light. My love goes to the light. My love, I love the people too, with my heart, but my love goes to the light at the end of the day. It's
so I do what I'm supposed to do.
where my loyalty is, and so, but you have to let that thing replenish you. Because if you take, it's like what you said about looking back at the music, and I guess the reason I don't do it the same way is because the music for itself isn't. I mean, the culmination of the music isn't the accomplishment for me. For me, is every layer I peel back.
Yeah.
So it's like all those. If I look at all the songs I've done, it's like 500 songs. Like these are all layers that I peel back. So I guess if I look back, I'm like, oh, it's great. But the reason why I don't is because I'm focused on the next layer.
Yeah.
And so for me, that excitement.
But at the same time, the only reason why you're there is because you did those things. You didn't just start 500 songs in, and you didn't just not peel those layers back, and now you're just where you're at.
Definitely.
So the only reason why you can feel where you feel now is because you have gone through those things and done those things. So all I'm saying now is that what I realize is that I personally in my life have to just take a step back in certain areas just to see how things unfold.
Yeah.
That's simple fact.
Yeah.
Because what I realize is, and all because different things happen where I realize that if I have my hands in everything, then I'm missing the big picture because I'm focused on too many things. So I have to just take a step back and just look at what it is, and that's just what it is. And I said even on the walk 2 days ago or whatever, 3 days ago, I said I'm not gonna be here forever. I was somber last week. I'm not gonna be here forever. Yes. But I'm not gonna run away from the feeling and be like, I don't feel this. Like, no, let me feel this. Why? Why do I feel this?
That's what
is
layer
this
you're
thing?
in right now.
You know, and that's why I'm like, and that's why I was a balance where I was like, oh, I kind of want to make, oh, I don't really want to make music right now. I want to make more music, but not the second. Okay, what is the? What am I supposed to be doing?
And what you said is beautiful because it's like that thing. What I understand in all those people I could name is they got to a layer because of those interactions. Because when you're in an argument or whatever, or you're in a moment where truth is being revealed, layers come fast.
Yeah.
Right? Layers are getting ripped off fast. People are revealing stuff that you know what I mean? And it comes fast, and people will hit the layer that hurts. And they don't want to take the next one because they feel like it's going to hurt, and they stop right there. And so it's like, yeah, you embrace it and you go through those layers and you peel back those things, but as far as the emotion goes, all I can say is, yeah, like it's the time and place, and you're going to feel it. I guess for me, if I go back to like from the start, even in Michigan, when we lived in Michigan, right? I had my best friend Shane at the time. He's my best friend, right? My only friend at the time, really, because I mean, there's other kids, but when you have a best friend as a kid, that was my best friend, right? I was a kid, right? So we moved to Maryland. That's a relationship torn apart. You know, I visited him a couple of times, but you go different ways. That's that. Then Brett, my childhood best friend, that was one of those people that we just drifted apart. So if I ever saw him again today, it'd be love, because it's like there was never anything bad. We were best friends. Like we heard each other, we fought, we had fun, we did everything, all the emotions. We experienced them together. And if you can go through all those things, you can solidify someone as a piece.
Yeah.
That level. If you can go through all those things.
Yeah.
Together, right? But that just drifted apart because it's like we have different ways to go in life. You help each other grow to whatever you need, and then you let each other go. That's just life. That's the best way everything can end. The part where it doesn't end good is when people can't let go. So the you saying to let go, that's exactly what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if things come back together, then that's where you know it's destiny, it's meant to be. And it might just be a shift. You come and go. And that's just how you move. But some things last that way and some things don't. And so it's like, for me, I guess I'm more, and then I go to like whoever I was friends with in early elementary school. And school is the easy way to do it because you move in and out of people, right? But then those bonds that are more solidified, those are the hardest ones to let go. Family, close friends, hardest ones to let go. But if it comes to a point in the road where, because of your own, whatever it is, your own morals, your own understanding, your own beliefs, the worst one is beliefs, really, because you don't know it, you believe it. The worst one is beliefs. But those different things where in some way that person compromises you, then it's in your best interest to let them go. And it's not even a matter of like, and of course it's that you feel the disconnection, but it's like one of the people, I'm not gonna, two of the people that we had around, they were compromising our safety, because the way that they were moving wasn't smart.
Yeah.
And so you're compromising my safety. When it was just me and it was my safety, I know how to operate in myself. So I'm confident that I can move in and out through the obstacles. But when you compromise the safety of somebody else that I'm there to protect, that's where the line gets drawn, because it's like they can't protect themselves the way I can.
Yeah. But that's someone forcing, not forcing the way out, but that's someone that they're around and then they have to be taken out.
But
in a sense, like, basically like this, like, for instance, like you said, Brett, right? Or Shane.
Yeah.
And you know where they're at, right? And you pull up and you hit them up and you say, yo, I'm here. And they don't hit you back.
Yeah.
Then that relationship, it's deaded. Even you went through all that stuff. Yeah, you drifted apart. But in my mind, it's like or they message you, you message them, he messages you back. And then when you get there, now they don't show up. That's the point where I'm at, where I realized I was like, okay, how, like, where are these? That's where I'm like, what was the point? Even if to the point, because now to the simple fact that we weren't close enough for you to say to me, like, yo, I'm not coming, or I don't really actually want to meet up with you. Then we weren't actually that close to begin with. To begin with.
So to take that mentality,
honest.
Let's go into the album thing, right? The exact same thing you said. Either they didn't listen to it, or they did listen to it. They didn't want to tell you. Take all those experiences you have with someone when you grow side by side with someone, and then you split up, and if they don't grow, if they stop growing, or they stay in a stagnant place and you go here, sometimes it's not even about you. It's about, like, can they face you?
Yeah.
And it's not because they can't face you, it's because they can't face themselves. So if they can't face themselves, then they can't face you.
But basically, and that's why when I really come down, it's like, however anyone feels, whatever, like, it's not my place to. Even for anyone to come to the album release or the birthday party, like, I can't tell anyone that it was their place to come or not, or blah, blah, blah. Everyone has their own lives, and whether they came or not is not a big deal. But what I can tell you is that the culmination of everything is that I'm not really pleased with what the situation has gotten to.
Yeah.
I'm not really pleased at all, if you ask me. So in my mind, it's like, okay, how did I get here? What were the steps I took? What were the things? And now, how do I use that for the future, so that when the next person that comes in, I know the different things, and it's like, okay, where we can when they go through the gate first, we can actually see, is it not a situation where in 3 months you got to tell them, like, yo, this actually ain't working out. You know what I'm saying? Because you can peep out those things earlier because you've seen them before, and then the things that are unknown, you figure them out all the time.
In mine of those things of you have to let people into the garden, because it allows you to find where those lines are. And I realize now, especially after the last one, you know, from when we were at the other house, where I was like, okay, I was willing to let pretty much anybody come in and run around the garden, because it was like, whatever, I'm gonna see what's at, like, how you operate, that I'm gonna see it just by letting you interact with everything, because then I know where you're at. If I only let you interact with a few things that I don't know, I can only know what I see, right, or what I can experience. So, but now it's like, we need doesn't have to be linear in terms of a solid concrete but a linear fashion of, you go from here to here to here to here to here to get here. Yeah. And that's that. And what your path is different. We wouldn't make every single person sit and make a song. Sometimes I see that with Eddie and even Calvin's beats. In my mind, I'm just like, bro, you just let me make the beat. Like, you want to learn how to make beats, and I'll support it. But when I go in and I look at it and I see I understand it. I understand the music as a language. So for me, it's like watching I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it's like watching younger kids write, and you look at their handwriting, and it's like sloppy, because they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to put it together. And you know how to write, right? And now my actual handwriting is not the best handwriting in the world, but in the way you articulate the words and the way you do what you do, it's like, you know the difference between something that's like really well put together and something that's not, because you know how to do that. You can write like that. I can speak English. I can write English, right? The music like that and operating with the production is like that for me. It's like a language. I can speak the language, and I'm pretty fluent in it. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, on one side it's like, and you make dope beats too, right? So it's like, on one side I'm like, hey, get in there, go try to make some beats. Really, because you need to figure out what you feel like. But then on the other side, if you're trying to create something that has like a stamp, let me make the beat. and we sit down. Give me the wheel. Don't fight me over it. Give me the wheel. Everyone, give me what you throw in my ear. What you need to throw in my ear, and I guarantee it will end up on the screen. It will end up in your ears, because you will hear the give and take of what that. You'll hear that process move through. So, because after watching them working, and everyone has their strong suits, but it's like I think that the part that is the problem, especially with the group, is trying to if everyone. I think everyone has to really sit and think what they really, really, really want to do.
Yeah.
And because and that doesn't mean like, do you really want to make the music or not? It's like, what part can you really? Because dude, what would take everyone else, and excluding you, what would take Eddie and Calvin 8 hours, I can do it in 30 minutes when it comes to the production, because I have so much experience in it.
Yeah.
I spent thousands of hours. Like, I've had my 10,000 hours in the studio. In terms of A to B, I've mastered it.
But you had to do that to get there.
Yeah, I had to do that.
You didn't just start there.
But then at the same time, it's like one of the things where it's like, the world will discredit it, right? But let's take like Willow Smith and Jaden Smith, right? Their parents started at I don't really know, but I'm assuming 0, right? You start at 0, no experience, and you go and you go and you go and you gain experience to get to the point where you're in this level of mastery in a class, right? In terms of the acting and whatever. Now you have their kids coming in; they don't start at 0.
Definitely not.
They start up here.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh well, I have the ability to start here, but I'm just gonna start here anyway. The world will hate that. The world wants you to start at 0 because the world wants to bring you down. But if you already can start at 3,000, start at 3,000. Go up from there. It's like Goku's kid.
Mm-hmm.
Goku's kid is not gonna go through the same trials and tribulations that Goku goes through.
Yeah.
Goten's already on 10.
Yeah.
And he better than Goku was.
Definitely.
At that age.
That's the point.
Because exactly. And we're supposed to do that for each other. So
Yeah.
the problem I find, and I just feel like everyone, you have to, when it's not your time to drive, don't fucking touch the wheel.
Yeah, definitely not.
And so, for any situation, the problems occur when people touch the wheel when they shouldn't touch it.
And in my mind, all I've done, if you look at 2024 and you look at me, you can look back at every one of these podcasts, and everything I said I was going to do, I did it. Every single thing. So in my mind, it's like, that's why the album had to come out on my birthday, because it was a point proven that I said I'm going to do this, and I did it. Here are the words. I can stand on every word. I can stand on every lyric. I can stand on them because I said it, and I'm doing it, and I'm backing it up all the way through. If you want to go something for your soul inspiration, go listen to Here I Am. You know, a number of your albums. You know what I'm saying? But this one was about, for the pure fact that I'm going to put it on my birthday. And there might be a couple of things I'm like, oh, I would, if I was going to see it for 3 hours more, I would change this, change that. But I'm like, but this is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this is perfect because of this. And so in my mind, it's like, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. Now I am established. Here's Ryan. He does this, he does that. I'm down to be a part of the merch. I've worn the merch for 2 fucking years. So I'm, in my mind, it's like, so that's why I'm like, you know what, like, but also I can understand the other side where I didn't just start here, you know. Even if you look back, you can look back, graduate. I was telling Eddie this yesterday. You can look back at my last 5 years of my life. 2019, I graduated college. We went to Canada for the summer, came home, didn't get the enterprise job, got a random bullshit job, started making the music. We did Nature, One King. Then we put out the singles a week. Then we put out all the C Collection and the Tide. Then we put out California Light, or went and made California Light the Sky. Then I took a hiatus for a little bit. Then Tim came. We did the Komodo Dragons, that music. We did all that stuff. Then I was like, oh, I actually got to make the album. Had to confront with myself in the sense of like, I actually have to do this myself. Started making the music. Got the job at where I work now. Met Eddie and Calvin. You know, we started assimilating. We went on the journey. I had the album, and then when I came back, I actually hunkered down and finished the album and put it out. Then we moved here, did that thing, set up the podcast, and then you can look at the last year music I just put out last week. So you can look at my 5 years of where I was, and I was like, I took 5 years of college, boom, 2014, 2019, okay, 2019 and 2024, boom. So I can look at the past 10 years of my life, and I can sit down and look at it and be like, this is what I did. I went through being in that mode where I'm throwing out those slick comments and learning how to navigate when to say slick shit and when not to, and when to just to be giving good advice and when to whatever, you know, all the way to this fact to now where I am now, and that's why like when I said the comment about the last song you and Eddie made, and it was like coming from a place of being in a mixing mind and also knowing where I was when I was just a feature to now I'm one of the entities. If you look at Ocean Rival, it's not just you. It's me and you and whoever else, you know, who wants to really be a part of it and make their staple. And that's why it's like, and that's why I asked Bree, and I asked her, what do you act like? I straight up, what do you want to do? Because if you just want to be on the camera, great. If you just want to be on, if you want to help with the angles and shit, great. If you actually want to help with making this whole video and be a part of it, awesome too.
Well, this is what we need to talk to everybody about tomorrow. That's why I'm glad we did this now, because my perspective on it is I've actually, from this conversation, unraveled to myself. Like, I think like originally when I was like, yo, Eddie, you need to learn how to make the beats, was mainly because so he can be, if you can learn the alphabet, then when we're doing shit, you can throw the letters.
And that's what I told him. I said, because
Yeah.
he asked me about when you sent the message. I said, look, at the end of the day, everyone has to be fluent enough to give off their opinions and give off how they feel. And if they can't, you can't be mad about it and harbor it because you weren't able to say what you want to say.
Yeah.
But if you're fluent in the language, then you can say what you want to say. I want a steel drum, and not just because I want a steel drum because it's my idea and I want it in there. But because you can back it up and say it needs to be in here because I feel this because.
Or you just like it and we'll try.
Exactly. You know, by the end of the day, it's like hunkering down like, oh, this is my, like, I'm not going to sit here. The podcast has never been something where it's like whatever I say goes just because I thought we should do one. The whole point, I was like, damn, all four of us have good perspectives on things, different perspectives that whether we agree with each other or not, so that's the point. There's going to be people who agree with each person.
This is where I feel like this is where I feel like as the group, we need the mentality change. Where now we do need Knights of the Round Table, each pillar, not us as people, but each pillar on the thing. We got ocean waves, the sun being the music. Each pillar needs to have the King Arthur at the table. So for the music, I'm the King Arthur at the table. For the podcast, you're the King Arthur at the table. Now, King Arthur wasn't a dictator. We sat at a round table. You take in everything from all the people that you trust and you trust what they're saying, and you make the decision. That's the part that I think we're having the problem with, is too many hands on the wheel.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when it comes to the music, and the most control I'll relinquish is to you. If I'm like, nah, that ain't it, it's not going on the Oceans on Rival page. If you call a spade at the end of the day, I'm going to make that call. And the same thing for the podcast.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that because
I know, but it's like, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right now, the podcast isn't, it's early development.
Yeah.
The way it looks in a year
exactly.
could be way different.
In my mind, once one person that's not within, that I don't know, that I don't know right now, comes to me and says I want to be on there, everything changes. Because now
I was thinking we should have guests.
Exactly, but right now the guest would be like a couple, like any guest that would be like someone that I know or like one of my friends or whatever, someone around or a family member, which is fine. But that's why I said.
But then you go back to
once you get to the point, and that's why even with Josh, I was like, I would love for them to come because I'm sure Josh has a great life story to be able to stay and who he is and blah 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 and things he's done and people can relate to and like, oh, that's dope, blah blah blah. Like Theo Vaughn had a garbage man from New York City on, and he talked all about just what it was like, and I watched the whole thing. You know what I mean? So in my mind it's like but basically what I know is that once there's one person that I don't know right now that says that they want to be on it, everything changes because now that is a true guest. That's a true.
Yeah.
We're gonna meet, sit down, be on the microphone, and we're gonna fucking.
But to be fair, not all Joe Rogan's guests are people that he just met.
No, he did not. But that's what I'm saying. Like, but Joe Rogan, where it was when he was just all his friends, to now when he gets a random person, we're not talking about Joe Rogan 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When he's on he's got the face camera to him and he's like this, and they got two people in the back on the couch, and it's just literally like he's doing it in his room. You know what I mean? That's a different vibe. Now when people, he doesn't just allow anyone on it. He makes like there is some criteria list where it's not just any Joe Schmo's getting on it. Like it's either his friend or it's even his comedian. Even the ones that he does like Protect Your Parks, like all four of them, they're on there. Like they're done like 10 or 11 now. they have comedian friends or whatever they try to show him, and it takes him whatever time to that one clip to finally be like, okay, oh yeah, I like him, blah blah blah. So that even then they're like, I can't just get you on Joe Rogan, even though I'm like friends with him or whatever, because it's more than that. But it's because it's more than just his friends or just his whatever. There's random people coming on this thing, and the platform has grown big enough where now that's where the space can be. So that's why I said the first time is someone that we don't know right now. It's not one of our friends or whatever. Then it is the next level to it, where now you got just people from outside wanting to come into this platform, and vice versa, or we get invited somewhere else. No one's invited me to their podcast yet, but the minute it happens, I'm gonna say yes, and I'm gonna go on someone else's, because that's why not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now it actually changes. Now it's not just us just fucking setting up real quick, having a conversation between us two and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Which is still great.
Well, I'll also say then,
you know? So that's why I'm like,
in the spirit of,
but also that's why it's the growth. Even in the sense, like, I made I drew out the Ocean Waves cover. First time I'd drawn something in a long time anyway too. And you had your opinions on it, whatever. But my mind is like, okay, yeah, you might have an opinion, but you gotta show me something else or whatever. And then you brought the next thing, and after a couple, I was like, okay, let's do that one. And then I didn't touch it because I was like, this was cool for me, but you felt inclined, like, oh, we need a different whatever. And the minute you put it on the thing, it was on there. It was on the next episode.
Well, I was working on that.
And then you made the comment of the Tell Me beat ending there. So on this one, when I go post it, I'm going to cut off the beat where you said. I'm going to put it there.
Before the vocal stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. Because it's like, okay,
sounds
that's an idea or
dope for
whatever.
an outro.
And boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, but that's just progression. Everything, even like putting there's so many different things. And then once we have the extra there's always going to be more and more. And that's why I'm at this point where, like, to me, what matters the most is that one comes out every week. And it's genuine. And we're just literally talking, because that's how we're going to, that's how you grow. That's how you actually get it. And then it's not supposed to be the big production right now. Yeah. It's just, this is what it's supposed to be. You know.
And I'll tell you this,
and that's why, even from the beginning, not to cut you off again, but was literally to show people what, like, you can do it. Literally, if you go look at the first one to now, it's so much different. Look at the first podcast, episode 001. To now
0 even.
Yeah, but that wasn't really, that was an interview. So I'm like, but still,
we should just change the name of that so it's not.
No, I like it, because then we'll do another one. We'll do the other interviews. We'll just incorporate. It'll just be a segment on it. Okay. You know what I mean? But still, it's like, but the pocket, how it's set up now is like way different, way more. Even the one like 2 ones ago where Eddie got mad and blah blah blah, and now we're had the past who've been us two. I'm literally sitting there the whole time like, I'm the most relaxed I've ever been. I'm drinking on it. I'm like vibing, and everyone else is and then Eddie gets in his tiff and Calvin and blah blah blah, right? So I'm like, I'm actually the most relaxed I've ever been. So I realized I was like, this is a part. This is now a part of me. This is now what I'm doing. Like, I'm giving people for an hour to 2 to 3 hours a week my perspective. You're giving your perspective, and not just on a calculated feeling of a song and this is how you whatever. And you made a metaphor like this just to hide this or this and that. Like, literally the simple fact. Like, even to the before what have I really cut out in the past? Past like 10. Not much, like not really anything. But in the first like 15 times, they had to, because it was just like the porch conversation was too free, like just for the red flags of today's society. Yeah. So now, but then I watch other ones, and I'm watching them like on Theo Von's, like they say like one of the words that you're not supposed to say now, and they still say it, they just bleep it out. You can still hear half of it, and I'm like, so there's still a fine line here of like what it is, but it's just about getting to a space where you can do. Where the people who are listening or whatever, you have the people that can take what you're saying, you know, and take it in. So I'm like, so that's why I'm also not in a rush. I don't need 30,000 people to watch me every week.
Well, it's not. It doesn't even matter. It's like everything you're saying is.
But the fact
about the creation of the art.
Yeah, exactly. But then the fact that there is at least one person gives the deep down proof that like this is working. Yeah. This does matter. Yeah. You know, and that's why I'm like.
So 2 things I want to touch on. Finish your thought, because I got 2 things I want to touch on.
So basically, that's why I'm at this point where I'm like, as long doesn't matter. Like a past couple, I was trying to think. I was like, that's why I asked how do we elevate, because I wasn't really saying much because I was just going through. I couldn't say names and stuff on camera or whatever at this point. So I was like, I'm not gonna talk about that right now, you know. And I could see myself step back and then where the conversations are going. I'm like. Okay, so where do we go from here? Because we got to be able, like, it has to be a good balance of giving off our personal lives and what we're doing, as well as perspective of what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
So we all have to be tapped in some way of what's happening around to give some sort of, to have a conversation that's not just about the backings of Ocean on Arrival every week about the little things. You know what I mean? Those are good.
Well, okay.
So it has to be a balance of everything.
So a couple things I'm gonna jump in here. One, I think from exactly what I'm saying about every position needs a leader, and it's not. No, we're not all on the same fucking page for the leader. You're the leader of your own thing, and that's what it is. Because if you look at the podcast, from you stepping back and letting other people take the wheel, the shit went south. Because you let other people drive it. And granted, fair enough, because that was the space that it had to be in. We're here now. That's needed to happen. But if you look at it, it's like, I think that this thing, you need to take that host perspective of this.
Yeah.
When we do the album interviews, I think Eddie should be the host of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But for this, you need to be host. I think if we have Josh on here, you should pick exactly who you want in the room, and that's who's in the room for the thing. It's your call who sits down.
Yeah.
It's not do you want to. It's you tell them if you can or not. Then it's do you want to.
Yeah.
I think that's where we need to start from there, because I think Josh would have an easier time sitting down if it wasn't 8 people in the room where he's telling his life story to people he's not as comfortable with.
Yeah.
He might be more comfortable to do that for you and I.
Yeah.
Or the next person, like Bree, might be more comfortable if Calvin's in there. Whatever the crisscross is, or whoever. I'm not going to do all the names down the line, but so I think we do need that leadership position in each spot, and it has to be what they say goes, and everybody else has to accept it, and that's that. And then exactly what you're saying about that moment where when someone random comes up to you and you're like, okay, it's working. I understand that, because I remember from early on, from me putting out like my first project, and a few after that, I had 2 people, both people we knew, that when I had a private conversation with them, they told me that they were thinking about killing themselves, and then they thought about the lyrics and whatever songs it was, and that made them or helped them pick a different choice. And for me, that was my thing of like,
damn, yeah.
no matter what
That's
else
big.
after this, there's 2 people that told me that they would have killed themselves if I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So it's like after that, it's like that's the no turn back zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
One
that's
is
why,
great.
And that's why when I said the
But
stuff
2
about
is
the music, it's like,
changing.
I know that the music's good. I love the music. I listen to music. I literally listened to it on repeat before I even mixed it for months, because I was like, this is fucking whatever. But, and even when I put it out on YouTube, the full length album, what was the comment? This shit's dope as fuck within like 15, 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so that's why it's like the balance of everything. Like, I'm not, like, it's not so much about the music and everything in general. It's just about the amount of people that have been in my life, and then how I feel sad about how little there are currently around. And that's just where I'm at now, where I'm just like, it just feels lonely. It's just like, damn, like, where'd everybody go? Like,
But I feel
like,
those
like basically like July, like you're talking about July 4th. Like, I want to have like build the Shea Stadium and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But what's the point of doing that if no one's gonna come?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the balance where I'm at.
Well, you also have to think about like there's the spaces, and then there's like, if you look at my party, right? I was like, I didn't want to just let everything go by me and it'd be like for my birthday party and it'd be like just a regular day or whatever. I was like, I want to do something that I can bring together all the people that I love. So I literally made my own flyer. I sent it out to all the people. I'm like, yo, it's my birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I sent it ahead of time as much as I could. And then even all the people that came there, not every single person that came there were people that were in my life a year ago. But people come into your life and they become special parts, like Dre and Tiffany.
Yeah.
You know, those are 2 people that like, y'all don't really know them because I only connect with them where I connect with them. But they're special people in my life. I love them. They love me. We have great conversations. And they're people that are we all have our own understandings, but in your growth in life, you've aligned on the path together.
Yeah.
You walk down this trail together for whatever time.
By the way, shout out to all the boys in the Discord. I can always pop in
Yeah.
there, so I know where they're at. They're always in there.
So you have those things like people that you'll meet. So if you look at all the past, and you can look at the hundreds of people that have failed the test essentially, but then if you look 10 years from now, like, and as the doors open, the more and more people, there's more opportunities for that.
There's gonna be more, 100%.
Yeah.
And basically, my whole perspective now is just not about maybe like being more strict on the gate to the garden, but instead of being on the floor, maybe just go up here and let me just look at the garden from a higher perspective and just see. And when people come in, just take an extra second just to look at them, just to see, because maybe I'm just to see real quick, just to get that extra little whatever. Because if you can avoid a situation, you might as well. And
I
if,
also think
you know,
it's like anything like in a house, you don't have. It's not just one big room. There's all these separate rooms, and not everyone goes everywhere.
True.
Like not everyone who walks in the house is going to come to the studio.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And some people are just going to be in this area, and depending on what we do for the day, is what areas are open and what are closed.
Yeah.
You know, like when we do the wedding, I have that little key. The whole upstairs, all the rooms are going to be locked, locked, because it's like if anyone does wander, it's locked.
Yeah.
You can't get in there because it's not even like the gate was open. Like no, it's all closed down. This is what's open.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's about. I think the front gate is you let in who you see them if you feel like you let them in, you let them in, but you just the areas that they can.
But that's
access,
what I'm saying. Yeah, true.
That's
I'm pretty much just in the sense like don't be so blind to who's walking in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's also a metaphor for your heart.
Yeah.
It's the same way. Like
100%.
Not everyone gets access to every chamber.
Exactly. And that's where I was saying was I'm for the past few whatever, I've been very much like anyone I'll grant any access, like I'm down to just being as open as possible. Just because that's just who I am. I'm down to be open. I'm trying to be open. I'm trying to connect. I'm trying to I'll give you energy, you give me some. Let's grow, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. But now I realize I can't just do that.
Yeah.
I can't just be super open. So which areas do I close the door off?
Yeah.
Not forever or not for this, but just in the moment, in each of these moments where it's like by not saying anything in that conversation, whatever, I learned things. So I was like, okay. But then I was like, but also I should not say anything. You know, so it's the balance of everything. And then the other situation, not doing anything and watching everything unfold. It's like, how many other situations am I in right now that if I stop doing what will unfold, so I can just, and then move on, because now I can move on.
I feel like everything, bro.
And exactly. And that's why a point where I was like, I should just stop, except for the podcast, because this is the place to let your emotions, to be as open as possible so people can come into our reality or our beach and come sit and enjoy the tide, and let's create a new one together. You know, they can come. So it's like here, the music, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to say how I feel. That's what, just like we were talking about earlier, you know? So it's like those avenues where I know this is where I'm supposed to be doing, I'm going to continue doing them 100%. But it's just about all these other connections, all these whatever, is really trying to just figure out who is actually there right now and who's not, who has potential, who's whatever. And you know, I never know, 5 years you can get a call and be like, damn, pick up right where you left off. You know what I mean? And I'm not the one to burn all the bridges I ever made. Like, they're still built. Yeah. But when I go to each one of these bridges and I look across and I see how nothing has been built back, it's like,
just leave it where it's at.
Yeah, you leave it. But it's also, now I'm trying to just figure out, like, basically, like, for instance, Maryland. What's the point of going back?
I had that same thing. That's why I stopped going.
But exactly. So now it's like, okay, what's the point? So then you have to get to that, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like the only reason why I was going before, because I had hope for all these, even 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And now the 2 that are there, the thing about it is that they just hop on Discord anyway. I can just go hop on and chat with them. Yeah. So it's like
the avenues
they're different. There. So it's like, it's just you don't see them in person, but you can still go chop it up with their mind.
I think you got to take it from, to touch on the 2 things. One, in terms of the boundaries of finding those spaces. One, you have to, like, you kind of have to test and see.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing.
But at the same time, it's like I'll use Amber, right? Me and Amber always play fight. But since Amber doesn't really know how to control herself, we set the rules of when she punches me, it's above the waist and below this. And then she can punch me as hard as she wants. And sometimes she rocks me. Mm-hmm. But I know that if I get rocked anywhere in the body from her punches, and if she hits me in the kidney or something, I'm sure it's going to hurt. But I'll guard myself enough. She's not really going to get a clean shot on me very often. But I know that she can hit me as hard as she wants in that space, and it'll be fine. I'll eat it, or I'll be able to block it. Now, when I fight her back, I'll like kick her in the legs, or I'll do like a little small tap to the face, because I know I'm not actually going to hurt her, right? Because I know where mine is, but she doesn't know where hers is, so I have to set rules for her. Like, this is the rules for you for right now. But if we're going to go fight, if we're like, we're fucking around and we're fighting, we don't set up any rules because we know that I'm not gonna actually rock you. You're not gonna actually rock me. So it's like
you might
if on accident. But then it's part of all fair in love and war. Like if you catch one, if you catch one, you catch one. But we understand those places that it's like we already understand where the gate ends.
Yeah.
Like this is where it's from a garden. This is where it's for war. You don't do that because that's war.
Yeah.
You do this because this is peace. And it's fighting no matter what, but this part is peaceful and this part is not. So we know that, so we don't have to set anything up. It's already there, right? But everyone's different. So I think the restructuring of all that is, imagine you have like all your stones that you think, I'm moving the mic, but all your stones that you think are important like this, you gotta just let them all go and then pick the ones that you really like.
And that's what I was saying about what's the point.
Yeah.
When you get to that point, like, what's the point of it all? Fuck everything.
Drop it all.
Then exactly. And but then you have to be an idiot not to. In reality, in my life, I'm looking around. It's the balance of everything. I can sit on the porch and be like, damn, I feel sad. But I can also be like, look at everything I've done. Look where I am now. Look where I am for 5 years ago.
I don't do that because I don't try to. I feel like when I'm feeling down bad and I'm like, oh, I should be feeling grateful or whatever, or I should be grateful for these things, it just makes me more sad. So no,
it's just a balance of knowing that like I feel sad in this moment, but this is not but people tend to get stuck there and sit there for a long time.
Yeah.
But I am quick to know I can easily look outside and look at the sun and be like, and look at the two birds flying and instantly be like, life's beautiful.
Yeah.
But then you turn around, you look back, and that's why Keita made the comment yesterday. She said she never likes to move around without her contacts because she hates not being able to see. In my mind, I love being able to take off my glasses because now this third dimensional, all this Chris shit is gone out the window. I can't read that sign. There's words on it, I can't read them. So when I'm walking down the street, I can't read that warning label. I can't read this. I can't read that. I'm literally just in the element of color and whatever's, however I can see. And it's like, so it's a vacation from, it's like I don't have to be in this fucking third dimensional reality of whatever this is. Like where you have to drive. Like I'm technically not allowed to drive without these, you know? But right now it's like life is way different like this than when I look, like even me looking at your face. I see you. Whatever, but then when I look at you now, I can see your smile, I can see your teeth, I can see all the little details, and it's like sometimes you don't gotta look that hard to get the picture. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's better to sit back or whatever. So sometimes I enjoy just going out and just being like, I can't see shit,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like, but then it's beautiful because you're not getting distracted by all the other bullshit. So that was my point. But you got to pick up the stone. So I know like the music, the podcast, me and you. There's certain things where it's like I'm never gonna not say how I feel around you or interrupt where I need to interrupt, and vice versa for you. You're gonna say what you gotta say, whether you know it's hard to hear or not. You're gonna say whatever you say, whatever, because we're just gonna. That's who we are. So taking you is like. Our connect, like you're not the only person in the world that I should be this honest with. You know what I mean? I should almost every relationship around. All of our relationships that are, if we're this close, should really be closer to our relationship, where it's like we can.
Well, this is the thing. So
but it's hard to get there.
This is the thing. It's like you have the layers to it, and about the garden. Like I said, some areas are sectioned off. For every single person, they have a different access code.
Yeah.
Like fucking the government does this shit. You have your access, that's where you can go. Everyone has a different access. Right? They do it for a reason, right? As much as we say whatever with the government, it's like they're obviously winning for a reason, right? There's structure to what they're doing. But so in that space, the thing about it, you take the garden and all those different access points, the thing that remains true through the whole thing is everything in the garden is true. So no matter what place people are in, it never means that we don't tell the truth. It's always the truth, right? Yeah. But the version of the truth has to change. The way that you communicate the truth has to change. When I'm at work, the way I speak the truth there is very different.
Yeah, 100%.
There's this guy who comes in. His name's Earl. He's an old guy. Yeah, he wears this big hat. He's always styling. He's an old black dude. I love him. Great guy. When he gets drunk off liquor, he starts talking about all the shit. Mm-hmm. All the shit. and he'd be talking loud as fuck, and I'm like, bro, trust me, I understand what you're saying, but time and place, like that's one thing. And we got in this little back and forth because he was like, nah, man, like you say what it is and how they, however they feel about it. It's like, I don't care how they feel, but I'm gonna say what it is. But I'm like, okay, so for you that's great, right? But if your goal, I was like, do you want them, when we say them, the people who don't understand, do you want them to understand what you're saying or not? And he's like, well, yeah, I want them to understand. I'm like, so then you have to see in their mind where their avenues are, and you got to figure out the way to distribute what you got to say, so that they don't close the door. Because if they close the door, the message is out the window.
100%.
And he's like, at first he didn't agree with me, but then we started talking, and he's like, you know what, I understand what you're saying. Because then it's not like people don't just shut you out.
Yeah, and that's my point with the red flags, right?
Yeah.
When cutting, what do we do? I necessarily think we have ever really need to cut anything out? Not really. We haven't really. Maybe the first couple there was something that was like outrageous, but other than that, nothing's really been outrageous except you name like a place where we're around here, right? And like, oh, we can't have that.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, that's the goal where it's like, I want to take our porch conversation, and especially the beginning of the pod, this is the inception idea. I want to take the porch conversation and bring it onto the microphone because those conversations are really good and people want to listen. However, when you're on the porch, you can say everything in the moment. You can say how you feel because none of us are going to think anything differently of you based off the words you use. But on the microphone and then in the world, you have to be able to still translate what we say outside and the truth.
Yeah.
But you might not be able to say the word that they bleeped out in the other podcast and blah, blah, blah. But you can still say what you want to say. You just don't use that word. You just try to figure out a different
approach.
Yeah, 100%.
Happens, yeah.
And that's where I'm at now with all the different things. Like, let me just do nothing. And that's where I'm at basically, where it's like, if someone asks for my opinion, I'm almost like, just ask for my opinion, I'll give it to you. Instead of me, James, being free willy, let me just fucking influence your day. Maybe you don't want me to fucking influence you. Maybe you want me. You don't want me to say anything to you at all.
So the whole thing, I think, is the same thing. If your opinion is the 100 stones and all the different things are the stones, throw all the stones down. Pick up the ones that you should always interject on.
Yeah, and that's why I also said,
when we were in the studio,
when the light comes, if the light's on me, I'll never deny it. I'll always say what I'm supposed to say in those moments.
Yeah.
But it's those moments in between where you kind of force your way in, because that's like you said, that they're there, so you try to give them the game for here. You try to give them level 3,000.
Yeah.
But they just want to be at 2,000.
But it's fine. It's just like, remember in the Dragon Ball Z, I'm gonna say this, and I gotta go to the bathroom. We just cut this little segment while I go and come back, because I'm down to keep going. But I think it was Gohan and Goten, and Goten couldn't fly. And he's like, oh, that's not fair. But that doesn't mean Gohan stops flying. Yeah. He did. He's like, oh, I'm still flying, but he's like, okay, I'll run back with you. Yeah. But this is where you can be. Mm-hmm. So it's that. You should always, if you can fly, fly. Yeah. If you can do it, do it. Just like, and then Goten goes Super Saiyan. And then what Gohan says to him is like, okay, maybe don't go Super Saiyan around this person because it might freak them out. Yeah. So you might be able to do this, but it's like, okay, let's do this right now, but then we go and do this. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can do this right now. I'll run back with you like this, but we're going to get you here so that we can all be there.
100%. I mean, definitely all about navigating people to
the destination.
Yeah, 100%.
So I actually
hold on, I just some shit I saw earlier, bro. It's just funny. People, I guess some comedian commented on some dude's picture. It was like him and his kid, and he made some comment about how like the kid is gonna like grow up to like suck like big dicks or some shit. So the dude like went to his show and like pulled up on him and like just beat the shit out of him.
Oh shit! 2 different comedians?
It was comedian. It was literally just a random dude. Oh. Like random dude posted like a selfie with him and his baby on Twitter. Comedian like says that shit. So the dude goes to his show and like goes like, "You said what about?" And the dude's like, "What are you talking about?" And just fucking.
That's crazy.
And I was like, damn. I was like, you definitely didn't think that saying that shit on the internet was gonna come back to bite him, but definitely did. Similar
sentiment, not as funny, but crazy. So I just read this thing of this dude. He's like some guy who his son got killed by a policeman, and his son was like 19 years old. He got shot like reaching for the registration in the car. He got pulled over.
That's tough.
And the guy, like, I guess nothing happened. Of course, no justice was served.
Uh-huh.
The guy waited outside the prom for the policeman who shot his son outside of the prom, like for his daughter, like the policeman's daughter, and then he shot his daughter, and he killed the daughter, and then he screamed out "eye for an eye," and then he waited for the cops to come get him.
Damn.
So the cop killed the dude's son, and he killed the cop's daughter.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's fucking crazy.
imagine that, bro.
Shit.
Like that's like,
That's tough, dude.
yeah, that's like the definition of sins of the father.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
And it's one of those things like, damn, like
It's hard to justify on either side. Because it's like...
on one side, you killed an innocent
the
man.
dude's in pain, and
Yeah.
now you got this dude is in pain. Actually, others like don't like. They say it's like the worst thing a parent can do is outlive their child. And I was like just thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, that's probably a lot to weigh on the heart. Like it's probably something when you have your child, you don't have to imagine.
Yeah.
Like this is like it's almost for like you give birth to a child, and this child is gonna mourn you, versus you thinking you're gonna have to mourn your child.
Yeah. Because you want, yeah, because that's just like it's natural for the kid to outlive the parents.
Yeah, you would think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Should be.
I mean,
That's crazy, dude. Damn,
yeah.
that's a tough one.
So one of those things is like really hard to like. The right and wrong is so effed up.
Sorry to see, because at the end of the day, like, I mean, a cop is just like,
Killed an innocent person.
yeah.
Call it what you want. At the end of the day,
Really comes down to the training of these cops, right? Like, you have to make sure that like they don't have anything on. But if he's reaching for the
you shouldn't shoot it unless
registration.
you see a gun.
But
pointed
realistically,
your way.
like, don't you think like if you're opening the glove box for the registration, like I feel like you would have time if you saw a gun to shoot first. I don't know.
I don't think that the cop should shoot. I think the only time you should.
But they should have a taser first, don't you think? Don't you think it should
I
be?
feel like it should be a
tase
rule.
function?
I think it is a rule, but no. I don't think it is. I think it should be. They do have a taser. Yeah.
But that's what they should pull out first. No.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you should like incapacitate the person before killing them.
Yeah, of course.
But the first thing they pull out is the kill weapon.
I feel like it's actually a natural instinct to try to diffuse before you destroy. Like anything.
Yeah.
Like even like bugs. My natural instinct is to try to get the
To
bug out
save
of the
them,
house.
yeah.
But like the other day,
But it becomes too hard.
I was in the studio, right? It's so weird to compare it, but it's a natural instinct. I was in the studio and I stood up to go to record. And I looked down and see a little beetle crawling. I looked around if there's anything I can get him with, like pick him up with, and I was gonna take him outside, like a cup or like something I can get him with. I couldn't find anything, and then he started like crawl somewhere I wouldn't be able to get him. So I picked up a rock and I crushed him. Because my natural instinct is to protect life first.
Yeah.
But you also have to remove from your space what needs to be removed from your space.
Yeah.
But then to destroy. So to immediately go to destroy
Yeah.
is a really...
And that's why it's like and you benefit of the doubt, he wasn't trained properly. But realistically, there's other emotions deep down within this dude's mind that is allowing him to pull the trigger before going through whatever the protocols were where there's a gun pointed at you. There's no gun in the vehicle, obviously, right?
I don't think anyone...
Based on the story?
All across the world, really, I don't know that far. All I saw was like a paragraph.
That's why it's tough to really speak on.
There's no way to justify it. At the end of the day, I think that in all regards, nobody should really be able to police or militarize an area that you don't come from. It's like what I said about the foreign species. Like no foreign species really should be introduced to an ecosystem unless the ecosystem is dying and what you're putting in there will revitalize it.
Yeah.
It should only be for that positive growth, not to...
Yeah.
You can't just put...
Well, there's like I don't even know what percentage of birds. Like a shit ton of birds in Australia are like have gone extinct because they brought like cats there, basically, like tigers and shit.
Oh.
Humans brought.
And they're killing the birds?
And they just murdered all of them. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Putting someone in the wrong ecosystem.
Yeah, that's why I said, yeah. You either completely take it over. So,
but I do agree with that. That makes sense. Like, you grew up in this, you know what to expect. you know
how to operate.
Yeah.
It's like fish in a tank. Like you people who own fish know that like you put some fish in some tanks and some fish in other tanks, and you don't put some fish together because they will kill each other.
You don't. And then when you change the water from
one thing to the other, not everything's gonna survive.
Yeah.
So it's like it's one of those things like we all. It's the sections of the garden. Like there's a reason that even in nature, like everything has its place. It's all interconnected into one thing, and that's what creates harmony and unity.
Yeah.
But there's if things aren't developed enough to like be able to operate in the same space and not kill each other, then the development needs to be first, not the placement.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with a lot of things is the placement comes first and the development's not there. So that's even going back to us in the group. I think it's one of those things where it's like I think we're at a point now where with everybody's hands on the wheel, it got as far as it could go. And now it's time for everyone. And I think that like you take Bree, you and me, and there's 3 clear staples of what there is there. And Eddie and Calvin is to be determined. Yeah. Because Breeze is obviously with the photography,
and even the social media because I guess when we started posting on Calvin's words that one time was that how she had like this.
She had it set up nice.
A visualization, and we fucked it up. Yeah,
but I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's like almost a sense like anything that goes on the page, like she should be the one to if she really sits down and be like, yes, I accept this, re-accept. Honestly, then it's like because if we say like, yo, we're slacking on the posting, whatever, then it comes down to the person in charge.
It comes down to them, but then it's also like, well, you guys need to give me this. I need this from you.
Exactly.
And then everyone has to.
And then if she's spirit, then it's like okay, then it's like
we really need to draw it out, and we need to define like what I was saying months ago, but now in a new light with better articulation. And we tried it the other way. We needed to section off all the different things and be like, what's each person gonna do, and this is what it is. And until then, everyone just fills in where they fill in. If you don't have your main thing, like the thing that you are on lead for, and it's their responsibility. You're on lead. I'm on lead for the music, so I'm the checks and balances.
Yeah. And that's what. And for me, like, bro, like I always like I know, like especially this year, like everything I said I'm gonna do, and I always have brought the space for anyone who wanted, just like you have, anyone who wanted to join or come and do whatever they want to do, they can do. So I never said anyone could or couldn't come on the podcast, blah, blah, blah. I didn't just say, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. You guys can be on whenever you want. I was like, yo, we should all start a podcast, But that's why with this video, that idea I want to do it, even in an episode like 2-3 months ago, you can go back and look. And I was saying like, when we were talking about the music videos, like I want to do these videos so we can incorporate the people around us. And people like someone like Josh or whatever, people might not know that they even like this thing or like acting or like being a part of this or even a costume design or whatever it is until they get an opportunity to do it. So that's why with this video that I'm drawing and I'm like making a story, and I'm not trying to rush it either. I'm not trying to not do it, so it's balanced. But what I really want is to get the story. Story is the first part, like lock down the story. But then I'm going to spend the time figure out what scenes need to be shot where, what time of the day, all the things, where can we go to get these shots, and who do I need in them. And then when that happens, then I'm going to present everyone who's around the opportunity to be involved in whatever way they want. So it's like, but they're going to have to make themselves available to get to the beach with us in that day, or this and that. We might all need to take off a day on Friday or whatever.
Also, I feel like from the start, it can't be like it has to be like whoever's role is what they're signing up for the part, and they have to make it, or you'll get recast for everything.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I'm at. Where that's why for me, I'm like this hour-long thing. That's why I really wanted, because then, based off this video, is going to lead into the next ones, and that's why I really want to set it up nicely, where it's like, for Hard Jumo, if we would have had all the ideas laid out, we could have. On that day, we could have done everything we need to do in each day, right?
Which we need to post that.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time it comes up,
So, and it's like, and so my mind is like, and before I said like, even the Pokemon idea, like, oh, we can do, like, Professor Oak, we can have this, we can have Josh do this if he wants, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, people around might have never even thought, or they might have thought about it, but they have never been given the opportunity. So that's why I'm just now, I'm trying to make sure, like, did Did I tell you what Trey said about his character or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and even then I said it one thing, and he's like, I'm gonna be Troy, and that shit made me laugh, and I was like, all right, bet. So you're already adding something to it just by that one. So I'm gonna next time I see him, I'm gonna be like, all right, Troy, what's your favorite color? Like what's your passion? All these things.
You should write it for him. Give him the script. Don't ask him. You tell him.
True.
He's the actor. He does what the director.
I don't know, because in my mind it's like he's the one he's the one who thought of his character anyways.
Well, okay.
I want to get a backstory to know who Troy is.
Yeah.
So I can incorporate it in my.
Well,
thing.
I would say this. Then you create.
Like basically, if you came to me like I want to be this, I'm not gonna be like, all right, you got to be like this. I want you. Who is this that you're bringing, and I'll incorporate into the story.
Well, I think it's two ways, right? Like one, I would
either
think,
or.
I think you take the thing, Troy. This is his favorite color. This is what he likes to do. This is this. You hand him the paper. You say change what you need to change. So all the prompts are already there. My favorite color is not red. It's green. Boom. I don't like to do that. I do this. Boom.
I'm probably just gonna interview him.
That works too.
I'll have my questions and get the answers.
Yeah,
and
you
then
should
based
record
off
that.
the answers.
You should record it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like an audition.
All right. Bet. Yeah.
And
It's a
then
good
you can do,
idea.
like, bonus tape.
Yeah. And then because I asked him, I was like, you gotta be yourself or a character. Don't be a character. And I was like, okay, maybe everyone should be a character.
Yeah.
You know.
More fun.
And that's where I'm at. So now I'm like, and I had the end of the story. I just need the beginning. So now I'm like, that's where I'm at. And I know it's gonna take some time, but I know like eventually I'm gonna have these things and it's all gonna line up, and it's gonna be up to everyone to decide. But and when all said and done, no one can ever say I never get an opportunity or blah blah blah. And this would be another thing that I said I was gonna do months ago, and I fucking did it. You know.
Yeah, I want to be in this story if possible. I don't know if you already have an idea for my role, but I would be like, I don't know how you're.
The only thing I have is I have you. Or maybe I was thinking of a mass call where everyone does it at the same time, but I want to have for my call like the FaceTime go, and it's like me like calling, and then you open it, and when the screen opens, it like goes to the music video, and the camera like zooms into the phone.
I want to be the guy who is sitting on a bench, and every scene I'm in, doesn't have to be everyone, but most of the scenes I'm in is on that bench, so we can film all in one day. And the bench.
Okay, I like that.
And the bench moment would be. All the different emotions you go through or something that happened, you come back and like I'm sitting on the bench and you talk to me about it, and I give you like a piece of advice, and then you go on your way, and it goes to the next song or something. That's what I would want to be like, and I'll probably be smoking a Black and Mild, so I'll get some Black and Milds for
Alright.
That's
so you're gonna have to give me the reason why you're on that bench.
I feel like you'd find out at the end, but
no, I was just saying like you're gonna have to give me your character.
Okay.
Like why did you get there?
I don't know. I'll let you know
what I mean?
when I think
and
about it.
if I like it, then you can keep it. If not, then you're not
gonna. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll have a good reason.
Because the end of the day is like, yeah, I got some good ideas already for it. So
why am I on the bench?
So yeah, why on the bench?
That's
So I just need to get the beginning. I have the stops. I just need to figure out how we're gonna get to these stops.
I'm excited. I would love it.
And I got some good ideas. So that's and I think it'll bring another light to the album in general and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that, and I'm in this balance where I'm like, I'm not trying to just rush ideas out either, like, because everything I've gotten so far is just came even to the simple that you just saying like the bench thing. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I can do that. That's a good. Like, come back to the thing.
Characters on a bench.
Blah, blah, blah. But it also reminded me of the animated video that I want to do. Remember the animated video we're talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, I have so many of these, and that's why it's like, you know, just lock it. Like, if I get, I think for now I want to do because like the Navigator's fresh and I have these emotions and stuff, I'm trying to get this one. Get it out now because I'm like still fresh in this time of when I made all these songs, you know. And then once we do that, then I want to get into the animated. I want to get those animated ones going. Start getting those down.
I mean, I can do the pixel shit. It took me a while to make that thing, and I had made all the layer. Like I had made the initial because I had to remake the whole logo digitized.
Yeah.
And then like pixel by pixel.
And true.
And then I had to take all those components piece by piece,
and
like just do the waves, and literally frame by frame. Like I have like to get that final image took me probably like 200 frames.
Yeah.
That I had to stack the frames into 40 different frames, the ones that lined up to get to where the final thing was.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely a process, and like that's the thing. It's like
but it just takes a day to finish it because I started it
And
I
I
made
really-
progress, but then it took one day when I was at work and I had nothing going on to just sit down. I spent like 2 hours, 3 hours putting it together.
And at the end of the day, it's like, bro, like I want everyone to be locked in, helping with these ideas and getting these ideas out. But at the end of the day, it's like I can't control what people do or what they don't do. So it's like even for Kayla, like I dropped the hint on.
It cut off again at some point.
I dropped a hint on Kaylee, like, yo, I got this movie idea, but I need someone, and I need that person who's gonna work on it when I'm not working on it, to like keep it going. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like this video with Bree, like I'm gonna do my portion, I'm gonna give it to Bree and let her
Yeah.
add to it, but it's like without me having to do every step.
Yeah.
But Kayla's like, oh yeah, I'm down, and hasn't come back. So I'm like,
Would you
all right.
give her something to do?
No, I told her like when you're ready. I said if you want, next time you come, we can sit without phones. We can put the phones away, and I'll run you through the idea, and you can tell me if you like it. If you like it, we can work on it.
Okay.
But she hasn't come back, and that was like a month and a half ago. So I'm like, I would have loved to have started already, but this is not time or whatever. Or I haven't met the person, or this and that, or I haven't spent the time to learn how to do the animating thing to do it myself.
Yeah.
You know. But
I would definitely at least dabble, just so you know the
But yeah.
language.
basically, I'm gonna. First things first is I'm gonna write this story out for the Navigator.
Yeah.
And then once I do that, then I can start branching into different things, because that's the main, like, that's the whole point of a fucking movie, like,
Yeah.
the story.
Maybe when it's finished, all right, we can do a guru version.
Yeah.
Yo, maybe
Yeah.
my character is the guru in your thing, and my story.
And that's why I knew you were gonna say some shit. That's why I was like, you better
Yeah.
tell me how you got that bench, because I was like, I'm not gonna let you just fucking be the almighty being in the movie, bro.
I am, though.
So I'm the almighty being in the movie, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal your movie. Okay.
And then my movie is gonna pick up at the end of yours, and I'm gonna get on a bus or something. Mine will start on the bus.
Yeah, I gotta really figure how it ends. I definitely got some good ideas. I think it's gonna be
Yo, you know what we
good
should do?
blending.
We should walk around with these joints, like and we can get that microphone that we have upstairs that has like that muffle on it.
Yeah.
And when we do like the film, we're just like.
We could, dude.
Hold it in there, so we're in public. Like, yo.
We technically could get it.
Quiet
True. We could for different ways. I was debating if I wanted to use the green screen or not. I remember that might be adding too many elements.
Nah, just keep it all.
But basically, the goal I wrote down. I said the goal is I'm trying to make this movie. I'm gonna try to make the movie feel as real as possible and like legit as possible, without going above and beyond our means. You know, and I'm trying to just be honest.
One thing that we're gonna have to do is everyone who has vocal parts will probably have to go in the studio and.
I was
record
thinking
it.
about that, but then I
Yeah.
was like, "Fuck, we're gonna have to get these. We're gonna have to get everyone's fucking inflections right."
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to do sound effects.
and background noise.
Background
And that's what I was
noise.
thinking about talking to Nathan. 'Cause-
Oh yeah, to do the music.
yeah, and that's what I was thinking about.
He should.
I was
definitely
thinking
do
about
the
like
music.
being like, "Hey, I'm gonna start working on this," and like start sending him like 2-minute scenes or whatever, and be like, "Can you make a little?"
Yeah, can you make background
Yeah,
music for this?
You know, and that's what I was kind of thinking. And that's my point where I was like, I'm trying to, how can I branch out and give everyone an opportunity
So when
to
the
be a
credits
part of
roll,
it?
it's credits.
It's everything. And in the
Yeah.
beginning, starring this as this.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a balance of how do I balance this movie with the acting, with my ideas and how I feel about the album, and then as well as giving the album, each song and each lyric, giving it a chance to shine, whether it's on the car radio or whether it's in the background or whether it's the main audio. Like how do I make sure that this is still a music video in a way as well as a movie, and you know, and that's gonna be after I make the story, like putting in those little things here and there, and then okay, for the beach shot, these are all the scenes we need at the beach. So we go to the beach for 1 or 2 days and we get it all done in 1 or 2 days. You know what I mean? And that's the goal, and get all those little, like almost everything broken down to the lowest intricacy of what's going to be recorded, what do we need here, what do we need there, and blah blah blah. And that way I can tell everyone on July or August 14th, everyone needs to take off because we need to do this here, and blah blah blah. And basically, whoever wants to be a part of it, like make it like almost a contract. Like you are, maybe I should write a contract out. You are accepting this role because of this, and that.
If you don't make the
and these are the
requirements,
things that whatever.
then you'll be recast.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what happens if it's like we shoot a shot at the beach and then we go and they have to get recasted? Do we just like
Go back to the beach.
go back to the beach?
Do it again.
Facts. Interesting.
And then and there's even a double down of like, just because you didn't show up doesn't mean we can't do it.
Yeah.
We
And
do it
even
again.
to the same, I was thinking about maybe we should go, and also I was thinking about even like for like Shane and Bacon and them, like depending on how the story, whatever, and we're like what scenes. Because I was also thinking we should go back, maybe just to go back and walk around. We should go back to Patasco Park or whatever, and just walk around.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was just like, we should do that. I don't know why. I was like, that was spiritually we should do that. But so I was like, maybe we'll go up there and I'll give Shane and them a chance if they want to be involved whatever way. So I was like, but for now I need the story, and then we'll start building how do we get this done. And that's why I asked Bree, how much do you want to be involved for real? And she said as much as possible. I was like, okay, bet. So once I do the first layer, I'm gonna copy all the sheets, staple them, be like, go listen to the album and take this and come back to me. Maybe I'll do the same thing for you. Give you one. You sit down, highlight whatever ideas you like, ideas you don't like, parts of the story you think you should add.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah, things like that. And then I want to give everyone the opportunity to create their own character, because that way it brings energy and life to it, and I will morph it how I want.
Yeah.
How do I want to use these characters? But just give me who do you want to play at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Do you want to play yourself for a character? I want to play a character. Okay, why? What do you want to be? What do you want to bring to the table? And I'll figure out a way to incorporate it all in the story.
Definitely gonna be the guru. Got to, because that'll lead into my film. Makes the most sense. Could do mine after. I don't even know what mine would be about, but I know it starts with me on a bench. Most definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably gonna start rolling a split.
All right. I think that's it.
Well, yeah. So. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
It cut out. Okay, so what happened is every time the computer went to the screen, and I didn't do the little thing like to wake it back up, where I had to put the passcode in, that's where it cut like that. So something, I don't know.
I don't know why.
Maybe we have to figure something out. Or just turn the auto. I mean, I think we just turn the auto close off.
Yeah.
That would be fine. So there's gonna be parts where it's gonna have to jump to that audio.
Yeah.
In editing, just letting you know from what I just saw. But
So
I'm good with that. I'm happy with that. I don't have anything else I really want to say right now. So unless you got anything else,
No. It's cool.
just end it and do another one. Catch up.
Yeah, no, we'll catch up when it's time.
You must hurry.
Don't relish in it.
Yeah.
All right.
Ocean Waves, baby.
Episode 39.
Guru on the
Thanks
bench.
for watching. Indigo Ryan the Navigators. Go stream the Navigator. Out now, all platforms.
It's actually it's streaming pretty well. I mean, you don't know. You can't see the streams. I can see the streams.
Is it streaming real? I mean, I listen to it here
Yeah,
and there,
a
but
couple hundred.
nice.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, I figured.
We also have like 3,000 monthly listeners
It's crazy.
right now. Which I didn't even say anything because I was like, you know what? If they see it, they see it.
That's nuts. See, shout out to everyone who listened at least once. It's alright, bro. Shit.
Yeah.
This is what I tell. This is okay.
I guess I'm putting
this
this back on.
This is the
man.
last statement.
Didn't get the hint, did he?
This is the last statement right here, right? I told Eddie this too. I said,
I told him.
if it wasn't supposed to work out, or I wasn't supposed to be doing this, or if what else would I do? What would be the point of even being here? So in my mind, it's like it literally is going to work in whatever way it's supposed to, because otherwise I would not be here.
You're doing something else.
I would have been taken out, or would have came at a different time.
Yeah, definitely.
So my mind is like, I really have no doubt.
Basic understanding
So-
of individual purpose.
Yeah. So that's my final statement.
The cup will be filled.
Oceans
matter
on Arrival, Ocean Waves, episode 39. Thank you for watching.
Almost
If
at
you were
40.
one of the 5 last week, appreciate you.
Yeah, stayed true.
We're gonna be here every week. We won't let you down. And that one comment where the dude said, "We're Kill Tony's put out Kill Tony every week for 11 years on a Monday." I was like, "Damn, that's fucking dope." So 10 years from now, I'll be able to say, put out a fucking Ocean Waves episode every Wednesday for 10 years. So we can mark this episode 39, and we'll clip this back in there when it gets to it.
I'll tell you the
10
same thing
year
I said when
anniversary.
you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna put my album out on my birthday." Good
Was
luck.
it? Yeah, was it? Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I'll do what I can.
Yeah. We'll do it.
Much love to the people.
Appreciate it. Peace.
Peace.